live. All right.
Can't even click on your goddamn.
Hey everybody. Now she's got her ad on. Oh man. Let me know when you guys can hear me. Let me know when we're coming through. We can hear you. How are the levels? We had nothing but technical difficulties not 10 minutes ago. You can hear me. Great. Welcome loud and clear. Loud and clear. Yes. Finally. Low but okay. Really? Okay, hold on, hold on. Good so far. Fine. Level is good. You are 5 by 5. I'm going with Roy, guys. Roy says we're good. So how is everybody? How are you? Oh man, it has been an afternoon. I can't even begin to describe to you. It's only what, 2:30, and it's already been a full day. It's been nuts. So, oh man. Well, I hope all of you guys are doing well. Let's talk. What do you guys want to talk about? Hello, everybody. Oh, Mike Russo. Looking forward to the upcoming Anthem review. If only Arcam would cough up some gear for you folks to play with. I know, right? No, Anthem actually came to us through Martin Logan, believe it or not. So we've got two of the three that are now talking to us, and it's been good. Lip sync issues. What? Okay. Well, we had to go back to like an old backup. So if there are some lip sync issues, I apologize. I thought I fixed it, but I guess I did not. Okay. Let's see here. Sony receivers. Let's talk about that, please. What do you want to talk about? What do you guys want to talk about when it comes to the Sony receivers? I mean, we did the review, so I hope you've all seen that. The 7000 ES, that thing is an absolute beast, and we're still enjoying it actually. So we got a couple more. We have one more Sony receiver review coming up for y'all here soon. So let's see here. I saw something. Chris, Martin Logan, the new Martin Logan B100 looks really good. It does look really good, and it also sounds interesting as well. You guys are going to want to stay really tuned to the channel. Probably, you know, like imminent if you want to see some Martin Logan stuff. All right. Okay, let's see here. Do I have everything functioning properly? Sneaking into the stream while at work, Brian. Good man. We won't tell the boss. Bodie McBoatface, is the Technics speaker review still coming? Yes, it is. We still have them. I don't believe I need to evaluate them anymore, but they're still here. It is still coming. The problem that speaker has is we can't get firm answers from Technics on like availability. But I believe that is changing. So we never want to talk about something where one or two or a dozen of you or more may want to go seek this out at a dealer or retailer for yourself to have maybe a similar experience to what we have, and then find out like you can't get your hands on it. Like that's not something we ever want to have happen, because nothing is worse than ending up in like a Polk R700 situation where we're starting to get messages from y'all saying like, oh, I'm waiting for 3 months, I'm waiting for 4 months. And it's like, really want you to be able to hear these things because they're good. So yeah, that's why we're kind of holding off. Let's see here. Did you have something to say?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Here we go, Chris. Hopefully it goes without saying, but if you ever did a review of that Cambridge Alva turntable, I would watch. I appreciate that. I really, really do. That's the Alva TT V2 version 2. You know that I was rocking version 1. The thing that makes version 2 great and why version 1 will probably be moving along to one of our members here shortly is because the one thing about version 1 is that it had a built-in phono preamp or it had Bluetooth, and you couldn't really alter or defeat one or the other. And so it really wasn't good for me as a reviewer in testing phono preamps of like integrated amps, preamps, etc. Now the V2 has a switchable phono preamp, so you can use the built-in one, you can use a third-party one, and you can use Bluetooth, and it has a removable head shell. It's just, as a reviewing tool, it is now everything I've ever wanted in a turntable. So it's fantastic. It's the quality is still exactly the same. So if you have a version 1 and it's working for you, don't feel like you need to make a change. It's just, for me as a reviewing tool, having the ability to select between built-in phono preamp, external phono preamp, and Bluetooth is amazing. And obviously right now we're using it for Bluetooth because it's nowhere near the equipment, and it's absolutely fantastic that way. So there's my review of it.
Did you just really quick?
Yeah.
Do you have the chat on like a slow?
I have it
mode?
on it is on a 15-second delay.
Okay. All right.
Or
I was just curious. It seemed like they were coming in quickly, and
oh yeah.
But never mind.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Nick of Movie AV Impulse. Is there a new Klipsch speaker review coming in the future? I love horn speakers. And will you verse them with other speakers? Versus them, like fight. Enjoy your weekend. Yes, Nick, there is actually a Klipsch speaker review coming at the end of this month. I won't say which one exactly, but if you're an avid watcher of the channel, you might be able to deduce what it is. And yes, it will be compared to a lot of speakers, and we will be diving into some, a little bit of some Klipsch controversy in that review as well, because I've got some things to say. So stay tuned for that. Let's see here. Thomas, you say, I am a 63-year-old audiophile. Nothing wrong with that. My wife was 51. Both huge fans. Oh no.
Oh, Thomas.
Okay. Wow. I read that wrong.
I'm so sorry.
Oh man. That sucks. God, I'm sorry, man. I really am. I've got my audiophile buddy right here, and that would crush me. So
I'm really sorry. Our hearts are with you. I hope you know that.
I'm really, really, really sorry. There's nothing else to say. I'm sorry.
I wish there was something we could do.
Yeah,
but just know
I do.
That we'll be thinking about you, and I hope you have somebody or some people in your life that you can turn to, and we're glad you're here with us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, and my thoughts are with you, and okay.
Kind of puts things into perspective,
Yeah, it does a little bit. All right. Let's do
that's a good question. Heavy Beats wants to know what was her favorite album. Maybe you can chime in.
Yeah.
In the comments.
Let's do that. Let's do that, if you don't mind. You're getting a lot of love from the fam here in the comments, so I'm glad you're here with us, and hopefully whatever we can do in the next 2 hours will bring you something. I don't even know what the right word is. All right. Stefan. I want a 77-inch S95C or G3, but your S95B scared me. That S95B, if I'm not mistaken, was the OLED Samsung?
Yes. Yeah, that was the S95B.
Look, I think that review has been wildly kind of misunderstood. It's not necessarily the television that I myself, in my personal needs and my personal tendencies, that's not the TV that I would get. It is fantastic, and it does a lot of things very, very well. It just does them somewhat at the expense of absolute accuracy. And as someone who has been around colorists, as someone that knows how to calibrate televisions, like absolute accuracy is kind of like, that's my line in the sand. And so once you sort of take away a lot of the excess saturation and excess brightness that Samsung is doing with the S95B, it doesn't necessarily perform any better or worse than, say, a C2 or G2 or whatever LG's up to, or even some Sony LCDs. Or LEDs, apologies, LED TVs, in which case you just have to decide, like, is the special sauce of the quote Samsungness worth it for you? Because you could potentially get a less expensive OLED or comparable LED, mini LED even, or QLED TV that will perform very nicely against the S95B. That's it. I'm not trying to say it's a bad TV and you should skip it. I'm just saying that I think the reasons why people really like it have to do with some of the artificialness that Samsung is kind of doing to wow you. Okay. Let's see. Let's go. Okay. Oh man, sorry, I gotta catch up. Okay, we're gonna get rolling here. Okay, I'm so happy to see everyone wishing Thomas well. Thank you guys for all the support there. Okay. Oh God, you're gonna hit me. Arjun, what's your thoughts on the Magnat Monitor Supreme 2002? Thank you for your super chat. I honestly don't have an opinion though on the Magnat monitor because it was never imported here into the US, and that line appears to not be expanding here in the US, so I don't believe that I will be given the opportunity to have an opinion on it, which is unfortunate. I think Magnat on a whole, at least based on my one experience, they probably make a very fun and approachable loudspeaker. And so if they are in your area, I guess the default recommendation that I would give you is, when at all possible, demo it for yourself before before having to buy it. But if you can't do that, I'm pretty neutral on Magnat, but just know that here in the US, they're not really expanding, and I don't have any experience with that particular SKU. Let's see here. Emil, you guys are the best. I have an Onkyo SR309 and I want to upgrade. Looking at the X2800H, SR6015 mostly. Wait for the Sony AZ3000. You have monitor audio 500 and C150. Well, you can look at that a couple of ways. First of all, I'm assuming that maybe you're in a foreign country. You're not one of our US viewers, which is awesome. Welcome. If so, it's possible you may want to look at Sony and find out even if they're going to be in your country. I've seen a number of people in our Sony review commenting that the 7000 or the 5000 ES models aren't coming anytime soon to their country. So that may just make your decision really easy. If it is coming, know that the 1000 and the 3000 from Sony are vastly different than the 5000 and the 7000 in terms of power and features. The 1000 and 3000 are probably, I don't want to use the word budget friendly. Obviously they are more affordable, but to hit those price points, Sony has taken quite a few things out of them, especially in the preamp output department, of which I don't think they have, but maybe stereo or none at all. The $5,000 at $2,000 or $2,099 is really where, for me, if I was shopping Sony ES, that's where I believe people should start and probably finish. Like the 7,000 it's amazing, but even for me, it's overkill. The 5,000 is like the butter zone. I think the 5,000 would be better than the 2,800. The 6015, I don't know. The 3,000 is probably going to be comparable to those 2800H and 6015 models, but I would encourage you to maybe, if it's available, look at that 5,000 because you do get a lot for your money there. All righty. Hold on, I gotta wish him some luck here. Tomorrow is my exam. It's 3:13 in the morning. God save me tomorrow.
Oh goodness.
Good luck on your exams.
Get some sleep.
Get some sleep. Don't do what I did my first trial run on the ACTs and just sleep through it. So, exams, it's important. All right, let's see here. Let's get the next question. Richard. He's reaching out to you, Thomas. And I appreciate that, Richard, very much. Andrew, I got an older Yamaha DSP A3090. It's from 1997. Do you have experience with these older Yamaha amps? DSP A1, DSP A1000, your thoughts? I don't know if I have exact experience with the one that you're talking about, but I do have experience with those older natural sound Yamahas from the 90s because that's all I ever bought coming up in the 90s. That was the only receiver for me, or amp or integrated. I only bought Yamaha. So from about 1994 until like 2002, that's all you were ever going to find in my system. And I love them. I loved them. I thought they were great. I routinely felt that they were outperforming, say, the likes of Sony. And at that time, I hadn't even heard like Onkyo or anything like that. It was like NAD if you really wanted to step it up, but I still just liked my Yamahas. So I don't know exactly which model, but I would not be surprised if you and others have some 90s era Yamaha and really like them. I don't fault you. I loved them. Absolutely loved them. So, okay, I'm going to find a question here since we are getting behind.
And I'm answering some of you guys in the chat box.
All right.
Just so you can, it's Kristi, right? It has a little wrench beside my name, but that's me.
You.
So
right.
I'm not some stranger trying to give you advice. I'm doing my best to help answer some of the non-super chat questions that I catch as Andrew tackles everything else.
Cody, I just found out I had a left speaker wired out of phase. Did I do any damage to my speaker since it's been hooked up that way for a couple of months? That'd be hard for me to say. I don't think so, depending on what it was connected to. I mean, a lot of AV receivers, if that's what it was connected to, have like an auto phase sensing thing. So if it doesn't warn you, it just corrects it in the receiver. So it's possible maybe that's how you've had it set up. And so in which case you're going to be totally fine. If anything, by correcting the phase, you should have all sorts of just clarity all of a sudden, because what happens when a speaker's out of phase is it's actually working against the other one that is in phase. And so it creates kind of a hollow, echoey sound. And this is not the technical term. Do not come for me, guys, if those of you who may be electrical engineers, but you're kind of like sucking sound out. So one speaker's producing sound and the other one's trying to take it back. So I imagine when you got both of them in phase, it probably sounded great. It almost probably sounded like you bought new speakers. But I don't think so. I wouldn't worry too much. I've had speakers out of phase before, maybe not for months. But I sometimes even do it just to kind of check some things. So that may be a question for the manufacturer ultimately, but I wouldn't worry about it if everything sounds good now that you've put it back in phase. Dominic, Emotiva XPA HC1s or Crown Drive Core amps, same money. Okay, you can look at this one of two ways. Are they the same money? Yes, maybe. The one thing I will say is the Crown amps are fantastic. I still use mine. In fact, I'm probably going to go buy another one. Not because mine are broken, but I want more. They're fantastic. You just have to be aware that they do have a noise floor, and there are ways around that, mainly taking the front level gain knobs, kind of backing them down until you don't hear the tweeter hiss. And you're still going to have plenty of power. Don't worry about it. But it is there. It is there. And so you just have to kind of work around it. The Emotivas, they don't have that issue. They're going to be a lot more just plug and play friendly. I think the XPA HC1s are phenomenal. I love them to death. But I do think that you actually do get a little bit more for your money with those drive core amps if you can live with the noise floor. When you say same money, I'm kind of curious because it's, if I'm not mistaken, a pair of the HC1s comes in at around $1,600, and I'm pretty confident that you could do XLS Drive Core 2 2502s or something, whatever that number is, like the middle of the line or the third, not quite the top end one, for maybe $1,200. So it would be cheaper, and if you had two of them, you could put them in mono, and you would have more power than the HC1s, if memory serves. Going off of memory. So yeah, I don't know if it's the same money, but both are great. Just know that those Crown amps have that noise floor. Okay, here we go. I got behind. Oh my god, I am so behind. Holy crud, guys. All right. See, I kind
of feel like I wish we could just kind of start over.
It's okay. It's okay. You know what? I
want a redo button.
Yeah. All right, Stefan, I have a 2.1 is it 2.1 or 2 dot? 2.1.2 setup, Dolby Atmos music, worth it. Okay. Had you asked me this question a year ago or 18 months ago, I would have said, nah. But I'm hearing better and better Dolby Atmos mixes every single day. In fact, there is a Dolby Atmos mix of an album that dropped not a month ago. Lead singer of the band The XX, his name just fell out of my head.
Is it Oren or something?
No. Maybe Kristi can look it up. Anyway, he's the lead singer of the band The XX. It's his solo album. For a minute there, I had a heart attack because I thought the band broke up. They didn't. He's just doing a solo album. And it is in Dolby Atmos on Apple Music. And it is great. I mean, so good. And it sounds great with, just the front three in Atmos. It sounds great if you have 7-channel. So I don't think Atmos music is actually a fad. I think it is legitimately good. So have fun with it. Let's see here. Okay, Curtis Bond. Hey, Andrew. Recently bought a pair of Klipsch RP600Ms, and I'm looking for an amp to pair with. I don't want to go crazy with price. Any suggestions? I'm going to assume you bought the 600M version 1s, not the Mark 2s. If they're version 1s, they are going to be a little bit brighter than version 2. And so I would say that, let's see, you don't want to go crazy with price. Okay. I don't know what your budget is. You didn't specify. I will say that if you want a do-it-all, and I do mean do-it-all product, the Bluesound Powernode at $799 or $899, whatever it is, would be fantastic with those speakers. And I believe there is a less expensive Bluesound Powernode model. The name escapes me. That is probably $499, $599. That would also be worth a look. Again, I don't know the size of your space. I don't know how loud you want to listen, but those two would be sub-$1,000 Swiss Army knives for a pair of speakers like that. Plus they let you add a subwoofer. I believe they have I know the Powernode, the more expensive one, has HDMI connectivity, has Bluesound streaming. So that's going to give you AirPlay, Bluetooth, Spotify, Tidal, the whole works. that's a really, really, really good package. If you don't want to go that route, there's the Cambridge Audio AXR line. We have routinely used the AXR 100 as a budget reference, but you could use the AXR 85, which is a little bit less money. That would work. Rotel A11 Tribute, we did put on the 600Ms, and I remember that being very, very detailed. Maybe a little bit too bright at times with certain music, but still very, very good.
Did you mention the Powernode? I
did. The Powernode was my first thing. Audiolab 6000A. If you do the Audiolab 6000A Play, that gives you DTS Play-Fi. I know some people are going to have opinions on that. I have found the Audiolab 6000A Play really does play well with damn near everything. So those would be my recommendations. Okay, this is the name. This is the name. Stu Baca.
That's a great name.
Stu Baca. Hey, hope you're well. Just got my MA Gold 200, my Monitor Audio Gold 200s, and searching for something to pair. Got a Yamaha AS1200 or Rotel 1592 and my Node in mind. Any opinion or alternatives? What does Kristi think?
Oh, God.
Between Rotel 1592 and Yamaha AS1200 with the meters.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I think both are really good options.
He already has a Node, so he doesn't need the digital connectivity of the 1592.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I think either could go well. I mean, he already has a Node.
I think so.
Mine plus his Node. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I would probably go with the Audiolab over both of those, but
go with an Audiolab. Which one?
The
9000?
Probably, yeah, that one or the one we haven't reviewed yet.
She wouldn't be talking about the 7000.
I would. I would be.
I personally, I don't think you can go wrong either way.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong.
Not with monitor audio on those. I don't think you're going to go wrong with either one, to be honest. If you already have a Node, then some of the digital connectivity of the 1592 Mark II may be redundant. And I agree. I would throw the 9000A into that mix as well. Great name, Stu Baca. Great name.
Dwayne coming in and gifting another 5 memberships.
Oh my gosh.
You're quickly becoming one of my favorite members. Always such a joy to see your face.
Do amps like the PA5 that measure perfectly sound as good as amps that cost $10,000? Really, like Macintosh sound, and can't tell why. Love you guys. Do amps like the PA5? What's the PA5? Oh no.
Here, let me Google that for you.
What's the PA5?
It's an amp?
Yeah, do amps like PA5?
Oh, it's an amp. Wait, is it an Anthem? No. Topping PA5 Class D.
Okay, hold on.
What?
Can I see it? I'm looking at her monitor. I clearly do not know.
It says here. Well, first of all, it's currently unavailable. It is a fully balanced power amplifier, 140 watts by 140 watts, TRS by 2, whatever that means.
Okay.
Input BTL, output Class D power amp.
How much is it?
It's not available, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
It's one. I mean, these are all fair. These are typically really affordable.
Yeah.
Really budget friendly.
Yeah.
It says it can do a 4 ohm load. I just don't. I think the problem with these particular types of products is that I really don't know who's making them, because there seems to be like 5 different companies that have basically the same thing that clearly looks like it's coming out of the same Chinese factory, and it's been just rebadged with some other
and we're not
logo.
Saying that, and we're not saying that to disparage on Chinese manufacturing. But it is something to kind of wonder about when it seems like there are 5 to 10 manufacturers with exactly the same products, all at around this exact same price tag. It's kind of like, well, who's in charge of what? Like, who actually built it versus who's rebadging it or who's reselling it under a different name.
And just to be clear, no, I have zero against something coming out of China. I mean, if you spend any time on our comments, you know I defend Chinese manufacturing all the time.
Yeah.
As far as what we honestly can't even give you any advice about topping because it's been a while since I've reached out to them, but I want to say I did contact that company maybe last year, maybe a little bit longer, and they basically told me that they don't need reviews. They are at such a market saturation point that they don't send review samples out anymore. And so I was like, okay, well, cool, good luck to you.
I will say this: we do have two chip amp based design or products. We have the Arylic A50, which we've had forever. You guys know that I was pretty emphatic about that, and it's still a really good amp. And we have a product from Fosse. I don't know the model. I have taken the Fosse out and I've put it out here in the main room. I don't know if I'm going to review it because here's the thing that I've sort of gleaned from a lot of the popularity of these small Class D amplifiers. I have a feeling that the vast majority of people that are using them in more of a near field or small space setup, where they're not asking the amplifier to do too much. And in that instance, I think these products are really good. I do. I think that they routinely kind of just perform and work well. I'm 100%, I don't buy any of their power ratings as far as I can throw them. If you think receiver power ratings are X-Files material, these amps claiming to have 200, 300 watts that's just pie in the sky. The second I brought the Fosse amp out into our living room with some fairly efficient speakers, actually I use them on our Klipsch Cornwalls and Heresies, I think. Once you start actually asking them to, fill some distance, fill some space, it's not hard to get those amplifiers to start to distort and or clip, which is why for us and how we review things and the kind of content we bring you, they don't really or have ever made a lot of sense for us. But if you have a desktop system or you're listening in distances of 3 to 6 feet, yeah, maybe they can work and you don't listen very loudly. But in my experience, they do tend to distort and they do tend to fudge their numbers. All right.
Can you throw the bug up? I just want to give people a reminder that when you're doing your super chat, to make sure that you attach your question in the space where it allows you to type something, because otherwise we're not sure if you meant to attach something or if you're just saying, hey, thank you, and you're offering your support.
Yeah.
And it makes it so much harder to find your question later. So just a little tip.
All right. Here we go. Andrew, any advice on what to put amplifier in between Sony 5000 ES and my Polk R700? I'm going to assume it's not the new 5000 ES because I don't know if those are like officially shipping yet. If it's the old one, amplifier to put between, you don't think that they can drive your R700s? Well, if I ever feel the need to put a separate amplifier on anything, one of the first things I do is I grab my crown amps. Sad but true, or maybe not sad, but it's what I do. They're the amplifiers that I know. I've never known them to not perform and not to, sorry, my watch hit the table. I trust them. I trust them. If you don't want to do a crown amp, because let's face it, they are kind of ugly. I've been so impressed with Audiolab that their standalone stereo amplifier, I'm willing to bet, is probably amazing. I know Marantz just came out with a new set of amplifiers. I definitely know that the Emotiva Bass X mono blocks, the A1s at $499 each, work great with the R700. So those are my recommendations.
We've been getting a couple of questions about the KEF, the new KEF Meta.
The new KEF Meta? Okay. Garza, I'm going to leave your question up. We're going to address that KEF question head on here. Okay, so KEF is sometimes going to KEF, and we love KEF, and their products tend to perform very well. We were not notified that there was a new KEF R Meta series coming. We learned of it through Instagram the day the embargo was lifted.
Actually, no, we learned about it. Well, you may have learned
Yes.
about it through Instagram, but we were also hearing or seeing comments. People thought the embargoed speaker
that we referenced in the Sony review was KEF.
Was the KEF, and that was when I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And so we didn't even know.
Yeah, you guys were thinking way outside the box on that one, because we were like, I'm like, KEF R Meta, like the R series, like how many times do we have to tell people we don't have the R series? We didn't know there was a new one. So yeah, KEF didn't notify us that a new one was coming. We have since spoken to their representative, and they have sent us the press release, and we have said we would love to get any, and they have told us that there are no guarantees that they will have any to give for review.
It's basically up to, I guess, the
European office.
Basically, it was like, you can give me your preferences, but it's up to
Europe.
Europe to whether or not they're going to send anything.
Yeah.
But no, we didn't even get a press release. In fact, I think the only press release we've ever gotten, at least as of late, was for that LS60. So there's a lot of times, guys, we have you are ahead of the game on when it comes to stuff like this. It's surprising.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope that addresses the KEF Meta or R Meta series. As soon as we know more, trust me, I'll share it with you in the community page.
I'm still waiting to get the original.
We still haven't had the original.
3 years now I've been asking for that.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get a drink of water here. Okay, Garza, I'm trying to find a good integrated amp for my R700. It's currently running an old Kenwood. Is there any integrated amps under $1,000 that you think would pair well? R700s, $1,000. You're probably going to hate me, but in this instance, I think you might actually be better off with something like Emotiva's Basex A2 stereo amplifier and one of their just basic stereo preamps, because I believe that two box combo comes in at either the same price or slightly cheaper than their integrated. And if I'm not mistaken, it's more powerful. Again, I am going off of memory. This is not something that I can like tell you. I'm not trying to be coy here. I don't have these products, and it's Emotiva, so I'm never going to have them. But yeah, I think that might be your best bet if $1,000 is kind of your ceiling. The Powernode at $899 will work. But for me personally, with that speaker and its dual 8-inch woofers, I would like just a little bit more juice. But it will work. It will work. And if your room is maybe smaller than ours, give that a definite look for sure. Yeah, that would be it. James, I'm looking at upgrading my setup to either the LG C2 or the Sony X95K and the Onkyo RZ50. Do you have any more thoughts on the Sony a few months after the last review? Yeah, I still absolutely love it. It's fantastic. We currently don't have it on our wall because we are evaluating a different television, but it is one that we have decided to hang on to long term, the Sony. And so that's about as good of an endorsement as I think I can give it. I very much think that television is worth it, 100%.
You should definitely, if you haven't seen the review for those televisions, I would definitely watch those.
Oh, for sure.
I know, which one had the direct comparison? Because I know we had one before the other.
The Sony had the direct comparison to the LG, because we went LG then Sony.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the big, if you don't feel like having to calibrate something within an inch of your life, get the Sony.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Sony works really well with the RZ50. Like no issues there. Sasha, do you think Emotiva TA1 and HECO Aurora 700 is a good match? I think that they would probably work well together in terms of like the Emotiva would have enough power for the HECOs for sure. I can't say sonically if the pairing is just totally symbiotic because we've never tested them together. But yeah, I mean, Emotiva is going to have enough requisite juice to get everything out of the 700s for sure. For sure. Oh no. Jonathan, I clicked on something and it jumped to your question, so you lucked out. Have you guys heard of the new Klipsch 7s and 9s? We have heard of them. We were told ahead of time that they were coming, and they are supposedly on their way to us at some point. We hope to be able to bring you that review. But that's all I know. That's all I know. I will say, I think they look cool. I think they look great. The 9s are probably pretty big. The 7s might be the butter zone for me, but we should, fingers crossed, we should have one of each. And not like one of, like, we should have 7s and 9s. They're not going to send.
That's what I asked for.
Yeah, that's what we asked for, and I think we're going to get it. I don't think they're going to send us like 1 7 and 1 9, and that would be awkward. Okay. Hello from Greece. We were just watching a show, Kunk on. Is it Kunk on the World? Where
Something
she was
like that.
Oh my God,
it's
Netflix.
On Netflix. It's hilarious. She's hilarious.
It's kind of like Spinal Tap for BBC Earth kind of stuff, and it's, oh my God, it's so funny. Hello from Greece. Always love your content. Adding an Emotiva A2 to my beloved 6000A would change its sound signature. No, because you can take the 6000A and put it into its straight preamp mode, which you should do. And that preamp is pretty colorless in the preamp mode. So is it going to change the sound signature of the Audiolab? I think it's going to allow for you to hear the difference between Audiolab's kind of design and voicing compared to Emotiva, even with an Audiolab still in this signal. I just don't know if maybe you would try this, put the Audiolab in preamp mode, hook up the Emotiva, and realize that, oh, it's more of a lateral move than a step up, despite maybe the Emotiva bringing more power to the party. But that would be a really fun way to spend a weekend. So, give it a shot. Let's see. Oh, I saw one. I think I might have caught up. Dwayne, yes, thank you for gifting everyone, or 5 new members. That's so cool. Alexander, is the Sonos Amp good for pairing with a 2.0 setup? And if so, with Dolly Oberon 3s specifically, or am better off with a slightly more expensive Powernode in the UK? Super noob here. Oh man, I really want to just be able to give you like the answer. Anytime someone's like new to the hobby, I don't ever want you to be stuck in this sort of like hamster wheel of is it or is it not. I have not heard the Sonos Amp. I can say that the Dolly brand and Powernode, or Bluesound Powernode, they work really well together. We had our Powernode, or a Powernode, when we did a Dolly review years ago. And I remember that being a very, very good match. There is very little that I have against the Powernode, so it's always kind of a de facto kind of recommendation for me. And so in this instance, knowing that I haven't heard the Sonos Amp, but I have nothing bad to say about the Powernode, I'm going to steer you towards the Powernode, because so far I've yet to find anything under $1,000 that really competes with it. Caesar, great content. My wife mentioned in every video that I view that Kristi is false and was made by AI because she never appears in videos. What do you think? I think your wife's onto something. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. She is very real, guys. And you know how you can tell? Because when we were an itty bitty tiny little channel, she's in a couple of videos. You can see her. She's very real. Trust me. She's very real. She's right here. She's right here. See that hand? See that hand? That's not AI. That's not fake. That's real. She's very real. So
I just don't want to be on camera.
Yeah, and that honestly is something that as a society we have to, not just in her case, it's just some people, I can say this about myself, just because someone appears on camera doesn't mean that they are, quote, asking for it or soliciting for commentary or things like that. And if people don't want to appear on camera, that's equally okay, because it can be brutal out there. And so, no, she's very real. Very, very real. Okay. Let's see here. I saw another one here that I missed. Catching up. Rick, thank you very much. If you had a question and meant to attach it, please submit it again. And we'll keep yep, I did. Okay. All right. Let's see. There it is. Do you think the Model 40N will be a match for the Focal Aria 936K2s? 936K2s, that's the bluish ones we had?
Yeah, it was the Bumblebee.
The Bumblebee yellow ones?
I think.
Yeah, it will. It'll totally work with those. Absolutely. All right. Okay. Oh, Chad. I bought the Samsung Q990B for my bedroom, and it sounds awesome. I bought it based on y'all's review. Thank you. Well, I'm just glad that you really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that our video helped you in your journey and that it all worked out. I think the 990B is fantastic. I do. Had we not already had a 950 from the year prior, which is also fantastic, the 990B would have, been the soundbar. But because they're there are differences. You bought the right one. But because for us, and that we are already out of pocket for the 950A, and it was more of an incremental step up, we ultimately just decided to stick with what we had. But the 990B is it's killer. It's so good. Juan, hello. Just tried the full name classic stack, and it sounded fantastic with the Sonos Faber Nova 2s. My budget is lower than this. The option is the Supernait. Any thoughts on it? I don't have any thoughts on the Supernait. I don't. The name stuff, I'm not surprised that you were blown away by it, because everything from name that I've heard to date has been pretty fantastic. So I'm not shocked by that, but I also don't have a great deal of experience with those higher end products from them, just because they're so hard to get they're so hard to get hands on here in the US. The name Unity series is so popular because it's a lot more available, and man, that Unity Atom stuff is awesome. The only caveat to the Unity Atom line is that I would not pair it with hyper efficient loudspeakers. I'm talking speakers with efficiency or sensitivities over, say, about 95 dB, a la, say, our Klipsch Cornwall 4s. The noise floor of the Atom is audible through speakers like that, but everything else, it's perfect.
Plus, it's old.
And it's getting up there, and yeah. TechMed. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Oh no, it did it again. It does this to me every time. I swear. Oh, all right, caught up. I found my spot. I'm getting better at this, guys. At least I hope I am. I really do. Follow-up question from James. Onkyo RZ50, my front, left, and right are B&W 683 S1s, and I will be installing some CCM 662 in a similar configuration to your Klipsch. Thoughts on how B&W will sound through the RZ50? Well, because you have the older ones, I think you're going to be fine. And if you run Dirac to kind of control that, then the bass a bit, and if you need to use the tone controls for just global treble or whatnot, but I think you're going to be fine. I think you'll find that the Onkyo RZ50 with the older B&Ws will probably be pretty good, actually. So, let's see here. Hold on, guys. All right, let's see. Catching up here. I love seeing like all your conversations. I almost thought about putting the live chat on the screen, but then I thought about it again. I was like, that's going to distract me. I'm going to get distracted. Okay, Jay. Oh, click on it. There we go. What are your thoughts on using a Bluesound Node N130 as a preamp with it running directly to a 2-channel amp? Love the stream. Thinking about pairing it with an XLS. That's what I've done in the past. I think the regular node, not the power node, is one of the ways that we actually test standalone stereo amplifiers or mono amplifiers, because with the exception of the pure preamp mode on our Audiolab products, it's a phenomenal preamp / streamer. I think the only other preamp / streamer that I personally would invest in, but know full well that it would be an insane jump up in price, is the Cambridge, what's that line called?
The Edge?
The Edge, the Cambridge Edge preamp. That is the only standalone preamp streamer that has much of the same functionality as the Node that I have heard that is demonstrably better than the Node. And it better be, because I believe it's like $5,000 and the Node is like, what, $499? So I think it's a great preamp. I really do. The Node. And both of them, Cambridge too. They're both great. All right. Daryl, thank you. If you had a question and meant to connect it, I'll keep a lookout for it, but thank you very much. Rocket, thank you for your support. Let's dive into the Nakamichi Dragon, shall we? Okay, do you guys think you will get the Nakamichi Dragon soundbar that is coming?
Probably not.
Yeah, the odds are we will not. And I have no reason or explanation to give you as to why that is. We have reached out, or I should say Kristi reached out to Nakamichi on behalf of both of us and frankly all of you guys to try and get the lowdown, because after CES, we noticed a lot of people were, not only just other creators in YouTube, like in general, but like you guys watch, fans, viewers, were DMing us, commenting like it was, like you had hands on it. And to the best of our knowledge, we were like, no one has this. It's not out yet. Because even through our retail partners, I'm like, I can't go and buy this. And yet people were talking about it like, hey, I've played with it and I've seen it and it's great. And so we reached out to Nakamichi and we're like, hey, can you help us out with this? And they informed us, and this is near as I can, a direct quote. The Nakamichi Dragon is still in development and they do not have a release date or final specs or price. They're all still fluid. And so knowing that, I get why there's excitement. I find it ironic on a personal level that there's so much excitement for the Nakamichi, because every time it appears that I talk about a soundbar, like say the Samsung 990B, and I tell you it's $1,500, y'all are like, you can build a whole system for that, and soundbars are stupid. But Nakamichi's about to try and sell you guys a soundbar for, I think, somewhere in the vicinity of $3,000 to $4,000, and a lot of people seem very amped to want to buy it. But I don't have an opinion on it because it is not a finished product. So it kind of gets, for me, it gets filed away in a sort of, it's betaware, or I don't want to call it vaporware because someone has seen it, but it's not finished. So yeah, now going beyond that, Nakamichi has routinely kind of let us know that we're not of interest to them. So if we get it, or if you see it on this channel, I'm going to go on a ledge and say it's probably with 80-20 that we will have to purchase it.
Oh, for sure. We're
going to from our retail partner.
I've been emailing them for going on 3 years now, and at least they're nice enough to reply, unlike some brands. But the emails are pretty generic, like, oh, we'll put you on the list, and that never happens. I mean, we can't even get the Shockwave, which has been out for a while, to have a reference point. So probably isn't going to happen without us purchasing it. And I don't know. To me, I can think of a lot of other things I'd rather have.
Oh my God! Can I
spending $3,600 on a Nakamichi
soundbar
that's not even real yet?
Yeah. Can I take a side a little? Can we take indulge me for a 2-second detour? We have been in kind of acquiring and shopping gear mode for like the channel. Oh my God. Yeah. As far as like Nakamichi on the scale of things that we need to invest in. I mean, just before this stream, dropped like $1,000 on sound equipment because ours went kaput. And earlier this week, we bought a whole new, like full on testing rig for some other stuff that, we're going to be reviewing and bringing you and making sure that we're at the, just the top tier level as far as our data. And we got a quote for a piece of equipment that I desperately want to acquire to also make our reviews that much more, I guess, meaty for those of you. But that's going to be $30,000, $30,000 to do that. So I'm in full saving mode instead of buying mode. And so if I can get Nakamichi to send the soundbar, that would be preferable because I'm probably going to be broke as a joke here in less than 4 months. Okay. Thank you for indulging me. Michael, are the Polk Reserves R700 really that good? In my humble opinion, yes, they really, really are. Now, you may have different sensibilities with the things and with the way you like things to sound. And if that is the case, it is possible, just like with any loudspeaker, that you will feel differently about something. But objectively speaking, I'm going to try and remove all of my feelings about the speaker. Objectively speaking, at the price points that Polk has brought this speaker to market, it's really good. It's really, really good. And it embarrasses or hangs with speakers that are at least double the price. Again, objectively, like I'm putting them in the same spot. I'm measuring them. I'm doing the same thing. And I am removing my personal tastes from the equation. I can tell you that the R700s go toe to toe with speakers we've had in this house that are $4,000, $5,000 a pair, and some even higher. So, Alex, I recently upgraded my electronics to the Carry Audio SLP05 preamp and a pair of PassLabs X. Can I come over? PassLabs X260.8. It's now time to upgrade the speakers. Where would you start? Boxes under 42 inches in height. Alex, I want you to stay tuned for Sunday. I do. I want you to stay tuned for Sunday's video. This Sunday's. So like in, 3 days from now? Stay tuned for that. And don't laugh when you see it. But the speakers we'll be talking about on Sunday are something special. Your equipment costs more than them, but your equipment would bring out the absolute best in these speakers. So tune in Sunday. Outside of that, under 42 inches in height. I mean the PassLabs, they're just juggernauts, right? So you can, there's nothing you can't drive. Man, the world's your oyster. I don't know what your budget is. Boy, that's hard. My old PassLab system, I had the Bowers & Wilkins 800 Diamond D2s, and it was phenomenal, but that's going to be like 30, 40 grand. And I don't know if that's where you're at. So stay tuned for Sunday. If Sunday's video doesn't give you some answers or direction, write a comment in Sunday's video. Let me know, and I'll try and help you further. All right, let's see. Thank you very much. Maybe there's a question I'll see here in a minute. Min, want Atmos in my living room, but my ceiling has different heights left to right, so ceiling up firing is out of the question. Suggestions. Okay, so our ceiling is mildly slanted as well, but since you're saying up firing, it makes me think that you can't do in ceiling. You can't do an install. If the angle isn't too bad, like say it's only like a foot difference between where they would hit, I think you're probably going to be okay. To be honest, I think you will. Here is where Sony's spatial mapping tech can actually come into real play and provide for demonstrable benefits for someone in your situation, because of the way that they can kind of locate speakers in true three-dimensional space, and even use their sort of summing and whatever tech that the spatial mapping, sorry, my brain, the spatial mapping tech to sort of maneuver and get around those things. Now, I know you're asking about Atmos speakers, and I just pitched you a receiver. Nevertheless, if you want to use upward firing speakers, a Sony receiver, the likes of the 5000 or the new entry level one that we haven't reviewed yet, but we have, and it's coming. I'm looking at the box, the AT something, it's the 1000 or whatever, that has spatial mapping tech. That receiver is going to be about $799 or $899, somewhere in there. That might be worth a look with upward firing drivers if you have a less than like ideal setup. Eric, thank you, but you retracted your message, but thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see.
I think he came back with another question.
Did he? Okay.
I think
I'll
you'll
see
it later.
Formerly Dr. C, thank you. It's going, I see your little animation on my screen. You guys aren't seeing it. The little animation said, how's it going? And it's going great because I'm getting to hang with all of you guys. I really do enjoy these. You know, when we started live streaming, not this time around, but like 14 episodes ago, like I feared live streaming because we were so bad at it, and maybe we still are, I don't know. But I like to think that we got better. But no, I enjoy doing these with you now. Okay, Bodie McBoatface. How likely are you guys to review multiple models within one line? For example, Polk R700 and R600. Well, we've done the Sonos Faber Lumina line. And Sunday's review is a little bit kind of, we touch upon the line. We've done Klipsch line. Are we going to do more Polk R line from the, because we've done the two R200s.
I mean, the R600s would probably be the only ones we would review if we were going to go with something else from that line.
Yeah.
I would have to speak with our rep, and just, first of all, I would want to know, do you actually have stock of the R600? Because if you don't, there's no point in reviewing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think the R600, I agree with you. It'd be the only other one within that line that I would want to play with, just because the R700 is such a beast. So it's like, okay, what's the other one? But we do lines, you know, when we can. We typically are, the way I view it is we typically give you a bookshelf model and a tower model within the line. Because from there, it's just sort of like, well, you're going to either gain some bass or you're going to lose some bass. But everything else should essentially kind of fall within a certain realm of reason.
Yeah, I would imagine the R600 is probably pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Probably needs a subwoofer.
If you are a bass head, if you want that low subterranean bass, I mean, you could be like Kristi, and it's like, hey, if it does 40 hertz just right, don't bring a sub in here. You know. Alan, is my 1975 Philips turntable still considered a good turntable? Looking to buy a new turntable, but money is an issue. Am I better off getting a new cartridge instead? Look, if your turntable is still spinning at speed and the platter is stable and, you know, the arm is not creating excess resonance, and trust me, you would know if it was doing these things because you'd hear it right now as it sits, then your turntable's fine. Your turntable's fine. Go ahead. Try a new cartridge because the cartridge is arguably going to make a bigger difference than maybe buying a turntable that's made out of newer material. You know what I mean? And vinyl people, if you're in the chat, You're free to disagree with me. You are, and I can take it. I'm a big boy. But I wouldn't, if your turntable is in good nick, it's spinning at speed and the platter's nice and smooth, and you're not hearing, you know, any excess kind of resonance, reverb, or, you know, jitter, whatnot from the jitter. I know is a digital term, guys, but you're not hearing any, you know, noise coming from, you know, the arm, then yeah, go for it. Change out the cartridge and let the turntable live. All right, trying to achieve the perfect B&W Signature full range 20 hertz, 30 40 kilohertz sound in a small room. Which integrated amp and sub should I pair with B&W bookshelves? $5,000 excluding bookshelves. Trying to achieve the perfect B&W Signature full range. Well, in a small room. Which integrated amp? Well, I mean, B&W Signature, like the Signature line? Like the 702 signatures, or the Signature, like historically the Signature sound of B&W? That's my question, because B&W has like 702 signatures, and they take gargantuan amounts of power to realize their fullest potential. And if you're in a small room with a $5,000 budget, I mean, it took the Musical Fidelity M8XI, which is over $5,000, for us to really feel like we had wrung everything out of that loudspeaker. So you go Musical Fidelity, what, M6 would probably give you that just super crispy, punchy, dynamic, everything B&W sound. As for subwoofer, I mean, I use a B&W sub. Well, you can't see it because the comment's on. I use a B&W sub, and it's not going to hit 20. It's not going to hit 20 hertz, but it's a good sub. I mean, you're going to have to step up to B&W's line that's above what I use to really hit those depths. I think it'd totally be worth it. But in a small room, it's like, ugh. It's like, what are we doing here? Yeah, I have more questions than I'm probably providing you with answers, and for that I apologize, but that's really all I got. Eric, just found a pair of B&W 686 S2s. I'm using an older Marantz SR8500. Think they'll sound okay as front as surround? I mean, the Marantz will power them for sure. 686 S2. What are they on now? What's the 600 on now? Is that the S3 that we did, the anniversary series S3? I don't remember. Okay, the 600 anniversary series I'm not the biggest fan of, as you know, and as B&W would probably hope that I would just stop referencing.
S2.
They're at S2s, so yeah. It is the this is the anniversary series.
The 606 is we reviewed the 606 and the 607.
So he has 686 S2s. Those are the towers? Okay.
You act like I have all these memorized.
Well, she's got the computer in front of her. I can't touch my computer.
686
S2.
It says it's a 5-inch two-way. These are
they're old.
These are old.
Yeah.
These
okay.
are old.
That's what I meant. That's okay. Just found a pair of B&Ws. I'm using older Marantz. Think they'll sound okay as front or surround. They'll definitely work as surround for sure. For sure. If your space is on the smaller side or not too big, then they could work for fronts. You probably need a subwoofer, but the Marantz will power them just fine. Just fine. I am Nas80. I'm struggling to decide. I listen to music. I like to listen to music. Keep Denon 2200 and buy an integrated or get a newer AV. Marantz Cinema 40 with Wharfdale Evo. Keep Denon 2200. Okay, so if you have the Evos now, 4.2s, great speakers by the way, you already have a Denon, what are you trying to achieve would be my question. So I want Nas80, I want you to write more to Kristi with specifics. Like, what are you trying to achieve? Because what are you unhappy with? Do you need more digital connectivity? Do you want more features like streaming, Bluetooth, and things like that? In which case, yeah, you should get probably a newer component that has those features. But if everything is kind of working for you, I don't see the need to change unless sonically you're like, oh my God, I hate the sound of this. In which case, the Wharfdale Evo 4.2s are fantastic speakers, but now you may be in a situation of you change one thing and now you're going to start to wonder about changing the other. So if it's working for you, stick with it and just don't let FOMO get to you. But if it's like, no, I would like features, let us know. The Marantz Cinema 40 or even the Marantz Model 40N as an integrated, I mean, they do everything. They do everything, and they would power the Evos just fine. Thomas, thank you very much for your support. Let's see, Alex. Hey guys, worth waiting for anything from Onkyo Pioneer on upcoming mid-tier receivers that may provide better value. Debating on Cinema 50, but is max of budget. Want independent sub support in direct. Okay, I have no additional kind of teaser information that I can provide for you on future new Onkyo or Pioneer products. So what's out right now, I can instruct you on. What they may do this year or next year, I have no clue. I have no clue. And I would be very hesitant about anyone who says that they know, unless they're literally wearing an Onkyo or Pioneer, like they work there. If you need independent subwoofer support, or that is something that you really want, then you probably need to be looking at Marantz or Denon's newest lineup of AVRs, because they really took the battle cries for people, you know, we need separate subwoofers, and said, hold my beer. So if that's important to you, that's really where you should probably look. Chris, Decware SE84 UFO comes in 3 months, reserved a week after your review. Oh, Chris, man, you're diehard, man. Best you and Kristi have heard with it. Source is the Node. Any bookshelf possibilities? The Node is great with it. It really is. Bookshelf possibilities. Okay. I really, really liked, and don't laugh at me, I really liked the 600M Mark IIs from Klipsch.
Why would we laugh at you?
No, I mean, some people, but I mean, I really liked the 600M Mark IIs with the Decware and the Node. I did. I liked that pairing a lot. The only caveat is, if you want to reach into SPL levels that are probably like 85 to 90 dB and higher, you're going to strain that amp just a little bit. I rarely listen that loud, so it was pretty ideal for me. So I actually do advocate for that pairing. I loved it with the Heresy 4s. I love that Decware amp on the Heresy 4s, especially around 70 dB, 65 to 70, 75 dB pushing it. It's such a dim the lights, grab a glass of wine, and just detox. Just let everything just go. It's such a nice little thing. I love it. I know that they're not bookshelves. I did try them on our Revel M16s for a bit, and yeah, you can't go crazy with them. The Revels are a little bit power hungry, but again, around that 65, 75 dB range, it was pretty smooth. It was pretty good.
I mean, we have a pair of speakers in house that
I want to try them.
We haven't tried it on.
No,
but we will. I'll find you at some point.
We will find you Sunday.
Well, no, it won't be Sunday. It may not be Sunday.
Well, it may not be Sunday.
Find you at some point. I know how to find you, Chris.
We will find you.
We'll find you at some point in the comments. We've got 3 months, so
yeah.
You'll get a random comment from me one day, and I'll tell you.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. I'll give you my other recommendation if it's good. So yeah, you'll see the speaker on Sunday. We haven't tried it with the Decware, but now I'm going to, because I just got some new cables, some custom cables made for me, and I have to start testing some amplifiers. So 2 birds, 1 stone. Oh no, it jumped on me. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, no. Where'd you go? There you go. Okay. N.
Thank you for the super chat. Hi, Andrew and Kristi. I have $300 for my first 5.1 speaker, small room. I like the Klipsch Reference Theater 5.1, but people say Klipsch, and that range sucks. May I just save $100 and say mono price 5.1? I'd rather not mix and match. You have $300. Look, you know what, dude? The Klipsch Reference Theater, it probably doesn't suck, but my personal taste at that price in a small room are the Yamos. That Yamaha HCS 5 speaker system in the US at least, it's $199 or $299 depending on when
that's what it was a couple of years ago.
I mean, I personally, in a small space, I think that Yamaha system is pretty good. Is it ruler flat? No. Is it perfect? No. Is it a lot of fun? Hell to the yeah. It is a lot of fun, and I think that for a $300 budget, if you can score that system, you're going to have better looks than the Klipsch, in my opinion. Probably mildly better build quality, even though they are still owned by the same company. And I think you're going to have a lot of fun. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. And at the end of the day, the only person that has to like what it sounds like is you. So if you get it and you love it, just ignore everyone else.
And I just dropped a link for the Yamaha system that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to @ you in, but your name didn't come up. But if you look for me, Kristi Wright, in the chat box,
she's got you covered.
I just dropped you a link so you at least know what Andrew's talking about.
Yeah, I would check that one out. Alexander, what is your personal reference speaker and setup? We have a few. We actually have a few. Right now, what we are using as personal reference speakers include the R700s, B&W 805D4s, Concept 50s from Q Acoustics, and the Revel M16 bookshelf speakers. Those are our 4 go-to, everything gets tested, checked, and measured against. We are likely adding a 5th to this list very soon. We do have the Klipsch Cornwall 4s, and we do have the Heresy 4s, and those are personal speakers. We do not reference those too much in terms of comparisons to other things because they are so unique. High efficiency, horn loaded, that kind of a thing. They're not really apples to apples comparable to, say, a dynamic driver, typical or stereotypical dynamic driver loudspeaker, which is why I did not include those in the list. So those are the speakers. As far as amplifiers, we have our Decware, which is a single-ended triode tube amp. I have my Canner amp, which is an ultra linear or switchable to triode, so it kind of gives you 2 flavors of one at once. We have our Audiolab amplifiers that serve as a reference. We have the Technics R1000 on loan, but it is here as a reference. And we may have a new reference also in that category coming to the channel soon. And if this other amp becomes the reference soon, we will probably be thinning our amplifiers. I have a few too many at the moment, and I do want to pare down. I actually want to pare down quite a bit on everything. It's gotten a little bit out of hand. So I'm very grateful to the brands that have allowed things to become reference and extend the loan periods and whatnot. But some stuff will be going back because it's overwhelming. Receivers, we use the Onkyo RZ50, and the Sony 7000 ES that we just reviewed is replacing the Marantz 8015 as our high-end reference receiver right now. So. TechMed, any thoughts about Lingdorf as an integrated streaming amp with room correction? You know what? I think Lingdorf makes great products. I have never had the privilege of being able to hear them, even in my print days, being able to hear them like in my own home. I've always had to experience their products either at shows or at private events. I would love to have some more hands-on time with some Lingdorf products because historically, I think they're fantastic. Mike, I have a Sony DH790 receiver as my starter, and I'm looking at the new 5000 series Sony to replace it. Given the price difference, what can I legitimately expect to be different running the same 5.1.2 setup, new to high end? If I'm not mistaken, okay, the 790 was below the 1080. Now, we had the 1080 for a number of years, and that receiver defied expectations, and it just slammed. And I believe the 790 is like basically the same thing, or just a little bit lower. You're definitely going to benefit from the newer HDMI, obviously, the better processing. You're going to benefit from the spatial audio and sound mapping tech that just continues to get better and better. Placement of sound and transparency of sound and coming in and around you is likely going to improve. You're probably going to hear it. As far as power delivery, going to the 5000 with the new amplifier sections that's in the ES model that the 790 didn't have, you're probably going to experience just a little bit more control to maybe a lot more control in the lower notes, as well as some extension up top. And depending on what your speakers are, you maybe you're like, oh, I don't need extra extension, in which case, well, thank God the 5000 has, room correction and tone controls. Do I think that you're going to plug any receiver in and just immediately go, oh, wow, that's like going from black and white to color? No, not necessarily. I think a lot of this is power of suggestion to a certain degree, but I do think that you're gonna notice, obviously, capabilities with HDMI, definitely the improved 360-degree spatial sound mapping, and probably better control over your speakers, and slightly better bass, or outright better bass, by going up to the 5000. Now, there is a replacement for the 1080 if you don't want to make that giant leap. That gives you, the 4K 120, HDMI 2.1 inputs. It gives you the spatial sound mapping and all of that, in which case you're only going to be spending, I think, $900 as opposed to $2,000. You may want to peep that as an option. Kristi will shoot you a link for both of those. But that's what
am I shooting a link for?
The Sony 1080 replacement. We haven't reviewed it yet. That review is coming. But yeah.
I don't need, what is it called?
The AT something. So yeah. I have 900 thanks. Well, thank you for the super chat. I have the LS50 wireless 2s in the living room, looking to get a second system in my music room. Amp will be the NAD 3050 LE. What speaker do you recommend for that? That differs nicely from the, okay, so the LS50 wireless 2s are pretty, what I would classify as clinical. So if you want flavor, if you're going for flavor, oh, shiny object, is something up?
No.
Okay. If you're going for more flavor, you could go with something like what we're going to talk about on Sunday. Well, no, hold on. Full stop. Take that back. I don't want to say that Sunday's speaker has flavor, but it has precision. That's the word I want. Precision. Could be potentially more precise than even your LS wireless 2s. Could always go Klipsch horns for more live kind of rock sound. JBL L82s could give you a little bit more of that neutral full body sound. I mean, there's Polk R200s that punch well above their weight. That would be different from wireless 2s. And those would all pair very well with an NAD anything. So, Daryl, I am running older Polks, RTI 10 towers, CSI A6 center, FXI surrounds with the Polk MTX series or Yamaha S809 be an upgrade. I don't think so. I mean, they're going to do little things here and there that are going to be different that you may like or maybe even dislike. But overall, I think it's more of a lateral, maybe potentially more of a lateral move. David, looking for a tower speaker for a very large room with great soundstage and imaging with good detail around $2,500. R700 versus Pendragon.
R700s.
Well, the Pendragons are going to be a bit more forward, so you'd be forgiven if you thought that they were more detailed because of that. So the Tectons are going to be a little bit more forward, a little bit more exciting, like immediately arresting. I will say their soundstage is going to be very big, but the imaging won't exactly be pinpoint. I don't think you're going to find them to be scalpels, just more kind of broad, very dynamic, very kind of arresting right away. The Polks are going to be something that you sort of can get there, get big and all of that, but you can also ease into them. They're going to play way nicer with a wider range of genres of music and even styles or qualities of recording. So I will say, I think on the whole, as all-rounders, the R700s are superior to the Pendragon. And keeping in mind, I have not heard the new Pendragons. I am basing this on the Pendragons that I had, which were good fun and great value for money speakers. But the Polk really has come in and kind of stole the show there. So, all right, let's see here. Okay, I think, oh, no, I thought I was caught up, but I am not yet. All right, Focal Aria 826 or Polk R700 and their associated center. In your opinion, which would be best for a dedicated home theater setup in a large room? If you like a slightly more lithe, dynamic forward sound, then the 826 are going to be great. They're going to be fine, a lot of fun. But if you want a little bit more accuracy and low bass weight as well, that may negate the need for a subwoofer in some rooms, even a large one, the R700s cannot be beat. G1 Crazy. What are your thoughts on Marantz Cinema 50 KEF R3, 8 ohms, 87 dB, 1500? Will you be reviewing its direct implementation when it comes? I'm concerned. The Cinema 50 should work with the KEF R3s. I don't know because we haven't had any of the R series. Will we review the direct implementation when it comes? I'm going to say yes, we will. It may not be on a Marantz Cinema 50. We may use that as an opportunity to talk about a different Marantz SKU so that we're not repeating too much of the same review and it just becomes about did the Dirac work or not. But yes, it is our goal to revisit Marantz when the Dirac update is live. Julio, thanks for the Cinema 50 recommendation. Also my favorite video in the channel. Also, I just finished making some speaker wires heavily inspired on the ones you have. I'm so happy with them. Thanks a lot. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad everything is working out for you and that you're happy. That is honestly the best. I love hearing that. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we hate it when people are unhappy or disappointed with after purchasing something we recommended. That's always, it hurts our heart because we know that you're spending your money selectively, and obviously we want everybody to love what we recommend. So we're glad we nailed that one.
Yeah. Peter, ever review Totem Acoustics? Going to listen to pre-owned Totem Sky Towers. Currently have JBL HLS on a vintage Marantz. You know, the only time I've ever heard Totem, apologies for the itch, the only time I've ever heard Totem was at trade shows. So I hesitate to say, I hesitate to have an opinion on them because trade shows are not really the best way to evaluate anything. So from the trade show, I liked what I heard, but that's the best I got for you. If you like them, that's all that matters. Isaac, thank you. It says you retracted your message. If you want to resend it or something, let me know. Or let Kristi know. She'll flag it for me. And I think I've caught up. So hold on. I'm gonna make sure. Oh no, I've had it in top chat. What happens when I go to live chat?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh God.
No, I'm caught up. It doesn't matter. I'm caught up. I did my job. I'm good. Okay. Oh, the eye roll was so real just then. You guys have no idea. All right.
Oh, I found Isaac's question.
Oh, you did?
So
is it, hey, Andrew, Kristi,
yes,
I'm looking for, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew and Kristi, I'm looking for high current monoblocks to run a pair of Golden Ear Triton reference and a pair of spatial audio X5s. Would love your recommendation. High current? Well, I don't know what your budget is. But I will.
Keely, are you talking to me right now? Meme?
Yeah.
I don't know any of those.
I will say this. The Golden Ear line was always tested and kind of developed on Pass Lab amplifiers. And while that may seem like absolute overkill, I don't think you're going to go wrong. My older Pass Lab 250 and 350 were just beasts. There was nothing they couldn't drive, and that included Magnapan 3.6 speakers. So if you can get your hands on, or if it's in your budget to afford Pass Labs, I think that you would be buying the very last amplifier that you would ever need. And you would have all of the current in the world. If you need to be more on a budget, I mean, I know that the current capability of Crown amps is amazing. It's just not, traditional. The guys at Audiolab say that their stereo amplifier can pretty much go to a dead short. I think it's stable down to 2 ohms. It's not like gargantuan amounts of wattage, but it should work. That would be more of a budget option. The M8XI from Musical Fidelity isn't integrated, but there is a amplifier version of that, a standalone amplifier version of that integrated that is also likely going to be useful when the sun dies. We'll just jumpstart it with that. So yeah, those are my options. Those are my suggestions. Me again.
Oh, he's back.
Good night. Still love you guys. And thank you so much. Thank you. Have a good night. Ben, I like clarity and realistic tone in near field. What should I upgrade given $1,000? I have a Wim Pro SMSL SU8 DAC AXR100 Polk 200. Okay, you like clarity and realistic tone in the near field? What should I upgrade given I have? Okay, well, the SMSL DAC doesn't get more kind of clear clinical and just the facts, ma'am. So you don't probably need to touch that. The Polk R200s are good enough. If there's anything potentially coloring or giving your system a tone, it's going to be that AXR100. Well, this is where I would say grab yourself a Powernode, but then you don't need your DAC anymore, and you don't need your streamer. So could you sell your AXR100, your DAC, and your streamer, and get a Powernode? I don't know, but that's going to be a lot. There's going to be a little less character, a little less color, so you're going to get that clarity and more transparent, neutral tone out of, say, a Powernode. Feel like we're talking about the Powernode a lot.
Yeah, it's like a blast from the past.
Yeah. I love my Technics G700 I bought on your recommendation. It's a great amp, man. It's so good. And it doesn't matter if you have the first one or the second one, because power-wise, they're the same.
Basically the same.
They're the same.
I think that it's just the second version got the upgraded phono preamp or something.
It got some phono preamp updates. It got some nicer binding posts. And that was about it. Let's see. Thank you, Pablo. Edith, will you be reviewing a stereo pair of HomePods? I don't know when, but yes, because I'm just darn curious. But that's one that I'm going to have to go buy myself. Danny, hey guys, wondering how you like the rear in-ceiling speakers in your new place and how you implemented them in the rear. I have no room for rear surround, so thinking about adding in-ceiling. Okay, we have a whole bunch of videos on kind of where we placed everything. So we have 6 in-ceiling speakers across our room. The front 2 sit kind of over top of where our main stereo mains are, but just slightly forward. I fudged the Atmos setup recommendations just a little bit because I just wanted that little bit of flexibility there. They're not crazy forward, but they are just a little bit forward. Then our next pair are to either side of our listening position, which is where in a 5.1 setup, you would want them to kind of start and then, because you can either have them to the sides or just slightly behind and then towed in towards you. And then the last pair are 8-9 feet behind our sofa, and those would be true back channels in a 7.1 configuration. But sometimes I will wire up a 5.1.4, in which case the 2 over the front speakers and the 2 kind of over our listening position become the 0.4 Atmos channels, and then I use the back ones as surrounds. And I'm sure there's going to be some diehards out there that are like, that's not the pattern that you should be using. I know that, but I need maximum flexibility to not only enjoy multiple formats and test things, but I also need to be able to jump from a 7.1.2 setup to a 5.1.4 setup because we do receivers. And so that's how we did it. But definitely check out the home renovation playlist on our channel. It's still on the homepage. So if you go to our homepage, check out the home renovation playlist. I believe it's the 2nd or 3rd video we did in that series that showed you kind of a map of how we laid them out. And that should give you all the answers that you need. Rob, any opinion on the DefTech BP9000 speakers? I love DefTech bipolar loudspeakers. I don't know if you're referencing a SKU I'm not familiar with or not. So I will just say that historically, bipolar super towers from DefTech have always kicked major ass. Any thoughts on KEF LSX for desktop? If you're using them on a desktop, I think they're fantastic. The second you need to hear them, listen to them, or expect them to create sound beyond the near field, i.e. within 3 feet, I think they fall apart pretty quickly. But on a desktop, I think they are the bee's knees. Follow-up, would the Wharfedale Lintons be a non-clinical alternative to the LS52s or the Mission 700s? Both. Obviously, the Wharfedale are going to be a little bit cheaper. I think the Lintons are a better value than the 700s. The 770s are a whole other animal, but they also cost way more. You're talking about several grand more. So yes, they would be a non-clinical alternative to the LS50 wireless 2s for sure. Dwayne, thank you very much. Alex, I know you love Crown for high wattage Class D. What do you think of the PS Audio M1200? 1200 watt monoblocks with a tube input stage. Never heard them. Never heard them. I would love to hear them. They sound like they'd be a lot of fun. They also sound like they're probably pretty expensive. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
They've never reached out to us.
They've never reached out to us. Paul makes some pretty products, man. I got to tell you. He does. But no, I don't know. Vadim, do you think the new ticket pricing policy from AMC will increase the interest in home theaters? What's your take on the price change? I think the price change is stupid. And I think it's stupid for 2 reasons. Because number one, I don't know how you enforce it. And I know Philly D had the same comment as someone that used to work in a movie theater. The last thing an usher or a sweeper or box office person ever wants to do is go into a theater like an AMC with a flashlight and be like, hey man, you can't be here anymore. Because you're either going to get cussed out, you're going to get punched, or you're going to be wearing a drink. And so honestly, what is a person supposed to do if they buy the cheap ticket on like a cheap ticket? The movie's been out for a couple of weeks and it turns out that no one's in the expensive seats. You're going to move.
Yeah. If I'm a college or high school kid,
yeah,
I'm buying the front row seat that's $2 cheaper.
And hedging my bet.
And hedging my bet that there's not going to be somebody in a better seat, and I'm just going to sit there.
And I think you're going to find that there's going to be a buttload of Karen videos brought to you on Twitter live from AMC's where someone's going to be like, I paid for the better seat, and these people all moved. But honestly, my bigger problem is, I mean, that's like the logistics, right? The logistical side of it. The part that I don't like is AMC's not upgrading their theater experience. So you're going to start to charge more, yet it's the same crap seat that was $2, $3 cheaper the day before. Or it's the same crap seat if you had come to a show before 5 p.m. It's not like they're opening up a new theater and it's like, oh, well, in the center section, they recline, they vibrate, and they waft incense on you. No, it's the same crap sticky seat.
Yeah.
You know, that now really, costs
yeah,
more.
It's really sad because obviously it speaks probably more about what's going on in the world of commercial cinema.
Yeah.
And how they're very likely having a hard time making ends meet.
They're all going under.
And so they're just reaching for ideas to try to capitalize on making more money, which I understand, but I'm not quite sure that was maybe the best strategy to go with. Like Andrew said, I mean, you're walking in there and your feet are still sticking to the floor and you're sitting in the same broken seat, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And the other thing about it too is, do I think it's going to drive home theater? I think what's going to drive home theater is the fact, but it's also going to hurt home theater. I don't know if you've actually tried to look at what's coming to theaters and what is also coming to streaming. Like, in my humble opinion, none of it's good. And so if there's not good movies coming to movie theaters, then there's not going to be anything good to watch in your home theater. So Hollywood's got a problem, in my opinion, in that they've become too reliant on like tentpole films. And I worried about this 10 years ago, and I even spoke about it. I'm like, they're too worried about the sure thing, and they're not taking enough risks on original content. And the last couple of movies that honestly have been the only thing really that we've had to test, big badass home theater systems, things like Wakanda Forever, Black Adam. I mean, these movies on the whole are not great. Wakanda Forever was especially like, buy some lights. Like, you have millions of dollars. Like, I have 2 lights rocking right now, and I'm a YouTube channel. You mean to tell me you guys couldn't rock up? I mean, everything's fake. It's all Unreal Engine. They're all sitting in front of a green screen, and it's like, you have complete control. Why is this dimmer? Oh, I'm passionate. I'm passionate.
He has feelings, folks.
I do. I have feelings.
William, I'm tired of
and I'm tired of superhero movies. I am. I'm tired of them. It's like, I loved that 10-year arc that got us to Endgame. That was genius. But we're not going to sit for that. It's not like, it's like, oh, let's just repeat. Let's do it again. It's like, it was special the first time.
That's why TV is better.
I mean, at this point, TV is proving to be better.
I would rather watch a series over a movie any day.
Yeah. All right.
Mainline it into my veins.
Vadim hit me with a passion question. I got to catch up now. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. Dave, I have a Yamaha RX V6A feeding an Emotiva Bass X-A2 with Yamaha S809s. Listen mostly to rock. What is a good speaker upgrade? Budget is around $1,000. You know what? Budget's around $1,000. I'm thinking of sale price. We may have the answer to that question in about 2 weeks. So you and Nick, Dave and Nick of Movie AV Impulse, stay tuned towards the end of the month. I think I've got something for you. I think you're gonna like it.
Bring on Stranger Things season 4. I mean, I guess. Where are they gonna go with that series?
Hi, I'm watching your channel for some time now. I'm wondering how about a second channel with reviews of vintage speaker and audio gear. If we do more vintage speaker audio gear, we'll do it on this channel because it's still in the vein of what we do. If I'm going to do a second channel, it's not going to be at all audio video related.
Oh no.
At all. Like this is the home base. If we want to talk about consumer electronics, be it hi-fi, home theater, TVs, things like that, this is where we're going to
divorce you.
This is yeah.
If you open up another audio related channel, yeah. I'm already packed.
I'm already packed. Thanks.
But look, here's the thing about vintage gear. We have done a few videos on them and have enjoyed them, but with the exception of one video, no one watched the other ones.
Which one are you referring to?
I mean, don't ask me to give you an example.
Don't I don't ask remember. Her for specifics.
But don't you remember the first one went really well, and then we were like, oh, maybe this could be a thing.
The Pioneer 450 did very well, but that was at the beginning of lockdown, and people were literally they would watch me eat a bag of chips. And then we did a Kenwood, which for reasons we won't get into, that's why that one didn't do well. The SX780 did very well. It did 100,000 views. What other one did we? Oh, Bang & Olufsen refurb one that eventually caught on. So that's the thing with vintage. It's like it doesn't really like hit right away, but the right audience always seems to find it. So, but anyway, long story short, if we do more, we'll do it here. Oh God, what did you?
G Papa 31. Watch Tar with Kate Blanchett. Incredible noir, artistic, psychological film, Kubrick style. Look, it is beautiful. That is a very cinematic film. And Kate Blanchett is one of my favorite actors. But boy, that movie was terrible. Sorry, G Papa 31. If I just crushed your little heart, but no, I cannot. That is one of the movies Andrew was in his mind that he didn't mention was ranting about not liking.
I understand.
Beautifully filmed.
It's stunning. It's stunning, and cinematically speaking, from an actor's perspective, there's some things in there that I'm not even fully sure the audience is aware that they've seen. But I think that film rises to a level of self-importance that is that was a lot to swallow, especially when you consider that about at the 14-15 minute mark, the film completely telegraphs the entire quote plot of the movie. And that scene where it does this, where it basically tells you the film, and the scene goes on for, it's about an 8 to 11 minute scene. I didn't time it with a stopwatch, but it's about an 8 to 11 minute scene. And if that scene was just a short, you have the movie Tar, and you have everything you need to know about it. Because there's no scenes that happen after that that are as impactful or as meaningful to the audience as far as like, why are we here? So you get the beginning, the middle, and the end all in one scene, and that scene is masterful. Kubrick, yes, it's amazing. And Kate, if she were to win a Best Actress, she's going to win it for that scene. But there's a lot of that movie that doesn't work. And if it is a film about bullying and role reversals, they really pulled their punches. That's all I'm going to say. They really, really pulled their punches, because if she is the female version of the antithesis of the movement, I'm trying not to give you guys spoilers. This film went way easy, and did not make you feel uncomfortable about her the way that, had this been a male character, it definitely would have made you uncomfortable. And that is unfortunate, because she's a monster that's not ever shown to be one.
You want to know what a good movie is? Shotgun Wedding with J-Lo.
Entertaining. It's entertaining.
It is so funny. Oh my gosh. It was.
I won't know. It's not going to win any awards.
It's not going to win any awards. No, it will not. But it is a fun movie.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Recommend.
I am number 127 of 2034 on the Decware build sheet, and I can't decide if I should pay the balance or lose my deposit when I can only use Klipsch Heritage or Zoom. I mean, I use Decware on Klipsch Heritage, so I don't think that's bad. And I've had Decware on Zoo products in the past, and I think it's quite nice. If you've waited this long, you've made it this far, why not give it a shot? Why not give it a shot?
I mean, really?
What?
Waiting? Are you advocating waiting?
For the Decware?
Yeah.
He's almost there.
I'm 100. No, he's not.
Out of 2034, he's probably going to get his amp this year.
Well, okay. I mean, if you're getting it, if you're close, then sure, wait. Otherwise, I don't know. I think it's a fantastic amp. I'm not saying that. I just, I don't know. I don't think I would wait that long. I think they need to hire more help. I'm sorry.
I do too. I did catch the Home Reno series. It was a great help. I've been told not to use in ceiling for rear surround. Who told you that? I mean, look, is it ideal? No. It you know, and if you want to adhere by the strictest standards of Dolby setup procedures, no, it's not ideal. But if it's all you have as someone who has gone without to now having them, I would rather it be, quote, wrong and have them. Because the impact that their presence has on our enjoyment is tenfold. One of the best upgrades we have ever done to our system.
Oh, for sure.
Is decking the ceiling out with all of the necessary surround and Atmos channels. Is it perfect? No. And I'm sure there's other people and forums and other creators that are just like, you can't have this with that setup. I don't care. I don't care because I'm grinning from ear to ear every time we watch a movie. I would go for it. I would go for it and just ignore people that don't have to actually live in your house. And if you like it, that's all that matters.
Oh man, that goes for a lot of things, doesn't it?
It does.
But you know what? If you do in ceilings, the Sony receiver we just reviewed, holy crap, man.
Yeah.
If you could not sense our enthusiasm about that receiver and what that 360 spatial mapping does, it is mind-blowing.
Yeah, and
it is really impressive.
And I will say to William, because, and I just saw your question as I was scrolling here, William, because of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and other games like that with Atmos, that is one of the reasons why I advocate so freaking hard for the Sony, because while I have enjoyed gaming in this room, especially on this 100-inch TV, while I've enjoyed gaming in this room, the second the 7000 came in with the PS5, it went from here to here. And I was just like, holy crap. Like it was it's so good. It's so good.
Kathy Cassidy says you should both start a movie review channel. It would be great fun to watch. And I absolutely think that is something Andrew should do. His knowledge of movie or cinema is so vast. And that is one thing I think is missing from some of the review channels that you see. They just don't seem to have, I mean, it would be like me starting a channel. I'd be like, I loved it. And without really being able to explain why.
I mean, if I did a movie channel, I would probably do it like this. I'd probably do it mostly live, because it would take me so far back to like my film history days, because I actually have a minor in film. And all of the film history dissertations and write-ups and stuff that I used to have to do, like there was so much that went into that, where I think the thing that maybe you're responding to is the spontaneity and the fun and the off-the-cuff remarks that I'm kind of making on the fly, because I'm not expecting your question. And so in that respect, I would have to do it kind of live like this. I don't know. Look, tell you what, you put 20,000 likes on this live stream, This is what YouTubers do. You give me 20,000 likes on this live stream, I'll do a live movie review channel. How about that? I'll make one live movie review a month on a new channel. You do 20,000 likes, we'll get it done. I have no idea when I'm going to do that, but we'll figure it out.
Well, I think you're safe. I don't think we're going to get 20,000 likes.
Hey, hey, you guys could all band together, create a dozen Gmail accounts apiece, and just do it. Hi, Andrew. Why do you not like the Sony HT-A7000? Oh, the soundbar? Okay, hold on. See, this is part of my job, is because when we got the 7000, it did not feel finished, but we had it like literally on launch day. Now, I understand it has undergone quite a few firmware updates that may or may not have addressed all of my concerns, as well as made it just better. I don't know. I don't know. And so I don't dislike it. It's just that my very first experience with it was not positive, but that isn't to say that it hasn't improved. I just don't know. What about Everything Everywhere All at Once? It's one of my favorites in years. I'll tell you this much, man. That film is kudos and points for originality. It could have been 20 to 25 minutes shorter, and it sort of hit the same emotional beats one too many times, and the outrageous factor started to drag by the end. But on the whole, based on films I've seen this year, it's definitely top 3. It's definitely top 3. And I think it deserves all of the accolades in the world. And
the girl that played the daughter was so good.
I believe she's been nominated.
Has she?
I know
Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh, and
who's very deserving of her award, but
yes,
I really feel like the
daughter deserves
had
it.
Way more to do.
Yes, and the actor of Goonies and Indiana Jones fame, who is the father in that film, he tore my heart out in the lobby scene towards the kind of right at the peak of Act 3, when this film is at maximum chaos. I resonated with him in that moment. The rest of the film, I kind of thought he was a little bit slapsticky. But in that moment, that actor, that man, tore my heart out. And that scene and the scene between the daughter and the mother in the parking lot make that movie. As much as the spectacle and all the originality of it, the film really is made by 2 scenes and 2 very key performances. And I'm so glad those moments were in there, because if they weren't, I would have said the film is getting a bit repetitive, but it does all lead to a really, really good place. And that's what saved it for me. So top 3 for sure. Okay, sorry, getting back to AP. Hey, Andrew K. Logan Aeon guy here again. I have the Bi-Amp Parasound A23, but just got the A21 too. A23 on top and A21 in the low, or just A21 in stereo? You know what? You've got them all. They're all in-house. So try every permutation and come to your own conclusions. Because I don't know. I don't know. I will say what I would do is, the A23 doesn't really work on its own. So let's just put that aside. Let's do the A21 on its own. Full range. Let's just let it go. Okay? Once you do that, then do the bottom half with the A21 and A23. And if you hear any differences, then you got to keep both of them. But if you're like, oh, the A21 was enough, then you can maybe sell your A23, move it to a different room, different system, and you know that you've solved your problem. But try them. Try them. The only one that can decide is you. Let's see. Would a R12SW or PB2000 small? Oh, no.
What is that?
Those are subwoofers. I'm assuming the PB2000 is a SVS. R12, I don't. What's R12? I don't. Shyamalan, if you're still watching,
that's a Klipsch.
Is it the R12?
Yeah. It's an
In a small
it's a 12
room?
inch.
Oh God, if it's a 12-inch Klipsch,
400 watts of power.
You're more than fine. More than fine. You're gonna have that thing on like coast mode. Like it's just gonna be like percolating. You'll be good.
Yeah, that's gonna be plenty for a
plenty.
small room.
I mean, look, our room is big and it's open on one side. And our SPL 100, which is a 10-inch subwoofer.
Oh my gosh! And he's comparing it against a $1,000 subwoofer. I mean, I'm sure the SVS is fine, but I would try the Klipsch first.
Yeah,
and save yourself some money,
especially in a small space. A Klipsch sub is going to be limping along. Isaac, I have a Crown XLS 2502 based on your recommendation. Thank you. Do you plan on reviewing the Class A Delta Pre-Pro and Amp? Also looking at the NAD M23s running in bridge mode. We will likely not be reviewing the Class A Delta Pre-Pro and Amp. Nothing against them. I've reviewed Class A in my print days back in the day. They're fantastic. They're great products. But that is a brand that is trying to find its footing, I think, a little bit. They've I don't want to say they've fallen out of fashion, but they're not where they used to be. I think the quality is still there, the dedication, the drive and everything, but for whatever reason, the availability isn't there. A lot of their product lines are longer in the tooth despite getting cosmetic upgrades. So it's not likely that we will be reviewing them. NAD M23s running in bridge mode. That's the M33 amp version, I think. We probably won't be reviewing that, but if you watch our M33 review, yours makes no difference. That amplifier is perfect, and you're either going to like that or you're not. For me, I can appreciate its perfection. It's just analytical attention to detail. It just emotionally did not resonate with me, and that is 100% subjective me talking, because objectively there's absolutely nothing that I can find fault with when it comes to the M33. It just wasn't an amp that I found myself continually wanting to listen to. Let's see. You know what? I agree. Chris Stuckman, I've watched for years. I have, and I think he's a really good guy.
Is that the guy with the beard?
Chris Stuckman, a little bit like Scratch. He's the guy that is actually going to start. He's making a film. He started a YouTube channel, and he will be making a horror film here shortly. He sits in a kind of a blue room with his DVD collection.
Oh,
like
behind.
this.
Okay, no, I'm thinking of the other one with like he has kind of a. He's brown, has brown hair, a beard. He usually has like a colored background behind him.
Oh, that's Johnny. No. Yeah, no, I know who you're talking. Jeremy Johns. He's also great. He's very animated. Very, very animated. Oh, here we go. I inherited a 1980 Lin LP12 record player, but it plays too slow. Is it worth to fix it, and what's the first thing to look for? 100% it is worth it to fix it. As for what to look for, I don't know. You need to contact Lin. They will direct you on where you can send it. But an LP12 working properly, in my opinion, it does not get better than that. And the collector value alone of that table kind of proves my point. Are there more expensive turntables? Sure. Are there better ones? I don't freaking think so. So I would, if someone gifted me an LP12 in parts in a box, I would fix it. Let's see. Oh, Luigi says we missed his super chat.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. So
can you write your question if you're still watching? Can you write it and we'll...
He said we referred to it, but didn't. What is it? I just answered him because I've been chatting with him in the chat box.
Oh, okay.
He said we posted it but didn't answer it. So I'm assuming there was not a question attached to it. I have no idea. I'm not seeing any more Well, now there's another one, but I spoke too soon. But,
all right.
Like I said to you before, after the stream ends, the cool thing about YouTube is it will at least itemize all of the super chats we received, and I can go through and make sure that we answered them all. And if there was one that we miss, we will add it into the comments, within the next 24 to 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the limitation with YouTube is when you're scrolling back, trying to find questions that you might have missed, because it's live, it only lets you go back so far. So unfortunately, sometimes we do miss it. And if you don't attach your question to the actual chat, we're kind of like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
Okay. He says here, I'm seeing a question from
for home
Luigi.
theater. Okay. For home theater center channel.
WTMW versus MTM.
Woofer, tweeter, mid-range woofer versus mid-range tweeter, mid-range. Would you pair a Polk Legend 400 with left and right Polk R200? Have wide seating close to TV? Legend 400, Polk R200. Well, unfortunately, I don't have any experience with the Legend 400s. I haven't heard that one. The Polk R200. I mean, I know a lot of people have feelings about MTM arrangements on center channels, and I know there's been a number of videos made by other people where they show the deficiencies and graphs and whatnot. In a perfect world, do I prefer a three-way center? Yes, like woofer, mid-range, and tweeter all being existent, but sometimes that's just not really practical. Do I think there's a true night and day difference when we're talking about center channels that are still more on the compact side and at a budget of say under $1,000? I don't think there's that big of a difference. Now, when you're talking about center channels like the Elysian Center, which is as big as some towers, yes, there's a difference, and the three-way design matters. But in your case, a two-way center MTM with R200s, I think you're going to be fine. I really do. I wouldn't stress it too much. But that's just me going off of my experience with all of these centers and guessing at how it's going to kind of work for your situation that I'm not there for. Can you recommend a good warm preamp to replace the Cinema 50 on the Aeons for stereo? A good warm preamp? I mean, again, I don't know, like
probably something from Denon.
No, I'm not gonna direct you towards a Denon if you already have a Marantz. Warm. I mean, geez. I mean, if you want warm, if you want that little bit of just je ne sais quoi when it comes to tone, you're probably gonna have to go chasing tubes. You just are, because that's what warm is distortion. And that's not a negative. I'm not saying that to be negative about it. I'm just saying that's where it comes from. So you're either going to need something that's older or you're going to need something with tubes. As for what that is, not really sure. Not really sure.
Thomas and Stereo has a new tube amp.
Why'd you do that?
What?
We don't know anything about it. And I don't know. Oh, man.
What?
Well, here comes a bunch of comments, probably.
I mean, no one's asked about it, but he has a new.
But it's an integrated. So it's not going to necessarily work in this case.
Well, I don't know.
Just wanted to say thanks for all the guidance. We ended up buying a Q Acoustic Concept 50 along with the matching center and sub. Great experience.
Oh, yes.
Not surprised.
Bravo. So good.
Not surprised. Thank you for your work and spot on recommendation. I brought the Bronze 100. Sorry for my computer bouncing there in the lower frame. AXR85 and Project Debut Carbon Esprit, and I couldn't be happier. That is awesome to hear. That is just awesome to hear. I'm glad. I don't doubt that is working out for you. Hold on, I just saw something.
My super chat about subs go to the dust? I thought you answered it.
Which one?
Oh, I'm just seeing, let's see, G1 Crazy said, did my super chat about subs go to the dust? And I thought you just answered.
I thought I answered a super chat on subs.
I thought so too, didn't you?
If I didn't, I apologize for that, but
yeah, we did. We just talked. Oh, wait, no.
I missed it?
Oh, I see it. Your thoughts on KEF versus Rel.
My bad. That's on me. That's on me. Your thoughts on KEF versus Rel subs for musicality. Okay. Haven't heard either one. Haven't heard either one. Okay, first of all,
if you've been here, if you were here at the very beginning, we said KEF is going to KEF, and KEF routinely KEFs on not sending products we ask for. Which one was whatever it was? It's
their SVS 3000
their powered
subwoofer
that came out. You know, we asked for it to go with something else we were reviewing. Yeah. Nope, not going to happen. So we don't know.
We don't know.
Rel, we had once in the house.
Rel, you will not see on this channel. It's a thing. I don't say anything. There's nothing good or bad about their product to my opinion, or I'm sorry. Let me back that up. I don't have anything good or bad to say about their products. I just don't happen to like the way that one of their representatives spoke to my wife. And so, no, you will not be seeing Rel reviews on this channel.
And keeping the subwoofer train running, Dan, no, we're not. We did we have the per listen sub?
No, we had the Arundel.
That was Arundel.
Yeah, the Arundel.
Sorry about
sub.
that.
Yes.
So no, we're not going to test the per listen subs. We don't have any future per listen reviews on the books. As for subs in general, we're not going to review those either. I mean, I don't care who makes them. We're not going to review them. We'll always tell you what we're using, who we advocate for, but straight truth, y'all don't watch them. Well, they don't watch them.
The audience for it. Look, here's the thing about subwoofer reviews. To be perfectly honest, you can do a subwoofer review in a short, because ultimately there's three things that a subwoofer needs to do. It needs to be built really well so that when it plays the low notes, you don't hear a lot of cabinet resonance. Number one, that's very easy to say in a sentence. The construction of X subwoofer is sufficient that it does not rattle, it does not skip across the floor, it doesn't do these things and induce things that you don't want, okay? Second, does it hit the low notes? Well, we ran some sweeps, it hits the low notes. Three, is it easy to set up and control? Yes or no? A lot of these subs are starting to be app-based and have EQ and things like that. And so you're like, yes, it does. That's it. Like this whole, it's more of a musical sub versus a home theater sub. It's kind of like that argument about it's a home theater speaker, but not a 2-channel speaker or a music speaker. That's all nonsense. That's all nonsense. Speaker is a speaker. So if it's a good speaker, it's going to be great at music and it's going to be great at home theater. I have, with the exception of maybe a speaker that just has copious amounts of bass and you only watch like Transformers movies and you just like that concussive feeling just constantly bombarding your body, there's no such thing as a home theater speaker or a stereo one. It's just a speaker. Because at the end of the day, a speaker doesn't know if it's playing a piano or an explosion. It's just information. Now, it can have a tone, it can have character, it can have all of these things, but it's not character that is dependent upon the source material, if that makes sense. And subwoofers are very much the same way. Like, oh, it's more of a home theater sub than a musical sub. You don't have it set up right. That's what I would argue. It's like you don't have it set up right, because our SPL 100 from Klipsch, which I think you can get on sale sometimes for like $400, that thing can be the most musical sub you've ever heard in your life, if you set it up right and you don't have it up too loud. And conversely, like this B&W sub, I think it's great for home theater, but it doesn't play down to 20 hertz. I think it's great for music, but it doesn't play down to 20 hertz. And some of you may argue, well, it's great for music because it doesn't hit the low notes, so it's faster or whatever. Fast has nothing to do with the notes that it can hit. Fast has everything to do with proper setup, proper amplification, and good cabinet design for a subwoofer. And you can hit all three of those things in about a 60-second review, that's what makes subwoofers not as appealing creatively, or why I believe people don't tend to watch them to the degree that I believe people seem to be fanatical about them. You know, there does seem to be, here, I'll turn this comment off because I'm on a rant. There does seem to be an audience that seems to think that like it's all about subwoofers, and that's fine. That's great. That's fine. But a lot of people are getting really kind of misguided information. I don't want to say false information, but misguided information, in the sense that it's like you just need more. You need more. And I'm going to argue, and I've argued this my entire career, set up one right the first time before you start adding more. And a lot of people jump into more camp before they even have one right. Okay, sorry, we got a couple questions just came in here, and I don't want to miss them. I'm only going to go for about another 15 minutes, guys. We've actually taken this stream way longer than we normally do, but I'm going to go for another 15 minutes. Hi, guys. Watching movies through streaming service or 4K Blu-ray, what is your opinion on the quality that physical media can provide versus streaming? Physical media still has an upper hand with respect to slightly less compression, slightly higher bit rates. So in theory, you are getting a better transfer. Now, the reason why I stream movies at this point is because I have on 6 different occasions done true blind viewing parties, if you will, in multiple locations, some of which were with cinema people that worked in the movie industry. And I had the same film on physical media and the same film on streaming, on the same television or projector, in the same room, through all of the same gear. And no one with any sort of statistical regularity was able to tell me when they were listening to or watching a streaming versus physical media, so long as the internet connection was stable. If I was streaming something that I had downloaded, and so it wasn't reliant upon a network connection, there was no one could tell the difference. And so I will not be one of those people that says that streaming is better quality than physical media. However, it would appear that subjectively, or the audio term would be psychoacoustically, I don't know what the visual one is, but just subjectively, that people can't always tell the difference. And so we stream because I just want less clutter. And I do feel like the vast majority of people that watch our channel and the growth of the hobby going forward is all going to be about streaming. And so I am interested in reaching people that are also, that have come up like I have, but are also thinking about and witnessing and experiencing the content in a more future forward sense. Let's see. Room correction thoughts. Dirac Live versus Anthem ARC. Big fan from Costa Rica. I think Dirac Live is good. I'm just now having my first Anthem Anthem room correction. Sorry, I was about to call it audio return channel. Anthem room correction experience, and I have to say I am very impressed with what Anthem has done as a calibration tool and evaluation tool. I think Anthem is actually better than Dirac, given all of the data that Anthem so clearly gives you laid out, like after you're done with it in this nice little tidy PDF. I nerd out on that. Which one is actually better? I think that's going to be a subjective call, but I'm very impressed with Anthem ARC. Let's see. The Supernait has no DAC. I have a Node that I could use as a DAC. Do you think that I would need to upgrade the DAC source as well when I get the No, I would get it, try it. Only you can decide, but I don't think so. I really don't think so. What preamp and amp do you use on your Logans? Is this meant for us, or was this directed at someone else? What amp do you use on your Logans? Well, I haven't had, I'm assuming you're talking about Logan electrostatics. And I haven't had those in forever. It's been a minute. I've used a bunch. Oh, okay, hold on. Any SVS Prime Pinnacle or Ultra Speaker reviews coming? No. We likely, sadly, that is another brand that has decided to cross some lines with me that I'm not okay with. Too long, didn't read Cliff Notes version. They were very disappointed that their product wasn't given the gold star, 5-star rating. We didn't hate it. We just didn't think that it was.
We actually talked very positively.
We talked very positively about it. We obviously love their subwoofers, but they were not okay with coming in runner up. And they let us know that, and they told us in no uncertain terms that basically if they weren't going to win, they wanted to take their ball and go home. And so we let them.
Paraphrasing.
I'm paraphrasing. It was much more wordy than that.
Basically, here's the situation. It was positioned to us that because we had another product remaining in house for review, and they were like, well, if it's not going to be favorable, or if it's going to go similarly.
Yeah, if they're going to get runner-up status,
then we'd rather you just sent it back. And honestly, we hadn't even opened the product out of the box yet. And we were just like, you know what? You can have all of your crap back.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, there was accusations that we didn't set up the product right. And, I mean, yeah, it's just so petty, and it's unfortunate because they make very good products. And honestly, I don't even think that this was coming. I think it came from the top, and the person that delivered the message was just the what do they say? What they say, don't shoot the sender.
Yeah. I believe the person that conveyed that information to us was just the messenger, and so I don't hold it against him. And it
sucks. I mean, it sucks that these kinds of things happen in this industry, and I'm sure it's not isolated to hi-fi or home theater. And I am sure that it is difficult when you work hard on something, a product is what I mean, and the review doesn't go as you would want it to. Not everything can be a winner. I mean, some stuff is great, some stuff is not so great. Rarely stuff is bad. Mm-hmm. That's the funny thing. Like the thing they got upset about didn't even get a bad review. I mean, I think I said I didn't like the way it looked, but that's so subjective. Who cares?
Yeah.
I'm reminded daily that why do you even care about how something looks? You're right. It's my own personal opinion. But if you are going to expect that your review gets preferential treatment and that nothing critical or can be said about it, then we're just,
we're not the channel for you.
You're right. This isn't, we'll go ahead and just send it back.
Yeah.
And then the unfortunate thing is that people then ask, well, what happened to that? Or why aren't you going to review this? And then we have to go through this long story, but we also can't lie to you. I mean,
yeah, and it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate, and I guess maybe this is a good spot to end it, because it always really upsets me when I'm disappointed, and not by a product, but when I'm disappointed by like a brand, because while I consider very few people like, oh, they're like friends. Like I try and keep a working relationship because we have to be able to reach out and say, hey, can we get this for review? Do you mind sending this and all of that? But I tread very lightly in crossing over boundaries where it's like, oh, they're a buddy, I'm doing someone a favor, sort of a thing. And I've known people at SVS. I know what they're capable of in terms of making a product. We've used their products for years. And so it was very disappointing to receive the emails that we received over what I will just say was a runner-up status as opposed to being, quote, the winner. And then that was just our opinion. It's like, given all of the parameters that we said we were judging 5 or 6 products against, yeah, they won some, but they lost some. And it was meant to be fun. And for it to be taken the way that it was very, very disappointing. And when accusations started to be hurled my way, that's when I said enough. Because these people that were making those accusations, they've known me for going on 15, 20 years, and they know how I operate. And so for them to say those things made me think, like, you're trying to hurt me, and I don't have to stand for that. And that's happened a few times. I can see in the comments, some of you are starting to now chime in with something that I thought was going to be a pretty hot topic today. It's just really disappointing. It's really disappointing to put 20 years into a career and a hobby the way that I have, and to have people that you've never really had an issue with now all of a sudden, because of something, just say, hey, I'm not sending you anything anymore because I didn't like that you really kind of, you pointed out something that I was hoping, had I been able to educate you a little bit better on, you would have seen past, and it's like, no, as I've told on live streams before, and as I've said in our own comments, and as I've said on our AMAs that I do on Instagram, there is no amount of browbeating that a brand can do that's going to get me to abandon my values and the trust that I feel that I have built with all of you on this channel. And I would rather come out of pocket for everything that we have to do going forward than bend the knee over silly, childish crap that some of these brands cannot get past. And that's just the way of it. Now, if you come out with something that, is just outdated and you're trying to pass it off as new, I'm going to raise my hand and be like, sorry, no. But in this instance with SVS, it was childish, and then they made it personal. And so,
and just for the record, they make really good products. Their Micro 3000 subwoofer was our reference sub for years.
Yeah.
And they make great products at an affordable price point. It was just honestly just such a shock to get those emails, and that the second they asked, well, if the review isn't gonna be overly positive or could potentially not go well, then we would rather you not review it. Well, wish granted.
Yeah, wish granted. And
because it's not worth it. It's not worth our time, and because all it's going to do is put us on a kind of on the defensive. Like, we have to, like, well, what if we, like, because you never know. Like, we would have never have thought that one review would have been taken the way it was. So at that point, it's like, I guess we're just not a good fit. So and we wish you the best of luck, and we'll all move on.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's just disappointing. It's disappointing. And it's also disappointing to experience rug pulls, to know that you're going to be working on something, and then for no reason whatsoever, like, it's just not going to happen, because then I'm left in the very uncomfortable position of not only having to tell you guys, like, hey, I don't have an answer for this. I don't have an opinion on this. And I was told this was happening, and now it's not. And A, I can't give you an opinion on the product because I don't have it. And B, I can't give you an opinion on why it's not going to happen because the brand is now not telling me anything. And I feel so foolish in those moments, because I feel like it's kind of my job to a certain extent to try and have information. So while, like, for example, like KEF, like we've been talking about KEF a lot this stream, KEF is a great company. They make really great products. Historically, everything KEF that's come through the door, I have been able to find, something about it that I think is going to benefit someone that's watching the video. And there's always a few things about them that I'm like, ooh, you know, hey, be on the lookout for this, or be aware of this. Or if you're this type of person, this might not be for you, but maybe this over here is. But they don't share information in a timely way. And so I always feel like I'm behind the 8 ball with like that brand. Now they work with us. Yeah. And that's great. And they're not an SVS situation, but it can be equally frustrating when a brand is also just kind of like, oh, last minute. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, oh, hey, yeah, the whole world found out. Any chance you can get this? You can get this going on your channel like immediately? And it's like, no, we have to spend time with something. You know, I need more than a day. I need more than 10 hours. I need to really live with it. I got to try and break this stuff. To be perfectly frank, I got to try and break this stuff. And yeah, it takes time. It takes time to do that.
Scott Westcott, did Emotiva act that way too?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
not this, not in,
not in quite the overt, like verbalizing it way.
I honestly, I don't really understand what went down with
I don't understand that either. In October of last year, we were made aware, as many people were, that they were building a new receiver. I texted Emotiva, my people that I know over at Emotiva in October, personally text, you know, like, hey, that looks cool. You know, I'm going to need that for review, and wink, smiley face emoji, like, and I should be the first one. To be perfectly full disclosure, I always say I should be the first one. Every channel says they should be the first one. So yeah, it's like, oh yeah. And then in October, yeah, of course, absolutely. And then like in November, it's like, yeah, we've got you on this. Do you want to hear the speakers? And I'm like, are they new speakers? And they're like, yeah, they're new speakers. I'm like, let's do the new speakers. Obviously we need the new receiver, but let's do the new speakers too. And then in December, I had an idea for a video. And because the HC1 video had proven so kind of educational in its own right, even though it was a review, it had proven educational in its own right. You know, I reached back out to Emotiva and I said, hey, I want to do a video. I want to use base X separates, and I want to do comparisons. It's not really a review. I want to do pros and cons of entry-level separates to receivers. Absolutely no problem. We're just a little bit busy with holidays and whatnot. Me too. So didn't think anything of it. New Year rolls around. We get into, you know, mid-January, late January. We start following up. And suddenly no one returns our texts, our phone calls, or our emails. No one. And I'm texting personal numbers. I'm not going through official like at Emotiva emails anymore. I'm like, hey, I know you're home kind of text. Like, hey, no one responds. And the MR1 comes out, and there's some press on it and reviews. And I think it was like the day of or day after, like some people got hands on it. I, reach out to Kristi, reaches out to Emotiva, and it's like, hey, do you have a tracking number? Do you have information for us? And we were told in an email with no explanation that there was a meeting at Emotiva, and it was decided that not only would we not get the MR1, but we would not be getting the speakers or any Emotiva products for the, quote, foreseeable future. And that was the end of the email. Obviously, we immediately responded saying, hey, what happened? And I'm texting going, hey, I need to talk to somebody. Like, what's going on? And the only thing that we have gotten as of right now on this live stream is we're busy. This is not how the brand has historically reacted. I have no understanding or knowledge for why they have reacted this way. And so I'm kind of beside myself. I have no opinions on the MR1 apart from what all of us can glean from the white papers on that product. And I'm going off of objective information provided by the manufacturer. At $2,000, power aside, there is nothing about the MR1 that competes in 2023 with anything. And so I have to assume that that probably played into their decision, but I am 100% speculating. Yeah, and that's just crazy, crazy disappointing. Because you feel like, I mean, I called it a rug pull earlier, and that is what it felt like at first, but now it kind of feels like you're being penalized for just being kind of, or attempting to be, as balanced an advocate for all points of view as possible. And the point of view that because there's no 8K, you don't need 2.1 is asinine. I use 2.1 every single day. And the fastest growing segment of consumer electronics is gamers, and they use 2.1 every day. So to me, if I'm running a business, if it were me, I don't understand why you would not include that. And I definitely don't understand why you would try and convince people that it's not a thing. It's a thing. And my argument to anybody, and we did the Sony review, and you know, a lot of people had some very strong feelings about Emotiva and the MR1. We did the Sony review, and I want everyone to put it in this perspective. If Denon, Marantz, or Sony came to market with the MR1, we would all be up in arms saying they've dropped the ball. And I just don't quite understand why there's a double standard. That's all. But I'm not saying that we won't ever review the MR1, but it is likely if we do review it, we will have to buy it at retail. And that's fine. We buy a lot of products at retail to review them on this channel. We do. Because the other thing that I tell brands when we request stuff, it's like, hey, we would obviously love to just have this arrive for review. It does make our life a little bit easier. But if that's not something that you can accommodate, know that we're going to get it anyway. And you guys know that's true. Because at the end of the day, I work for you. I'm going to end it here. I work for you. And for better and for worse, financially it might be actually worse, we do the bulk of our earnings and everything off of you guys watching and AdSense. You know I'm going to have to diversify here shortly. I know I am, because I need to grow and we need help. We do. We've reached critical mass. There's only so many hours in the day, and I am tapped out, and we will be expanding this year, and I will be seeking help. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to pay people salaries. And so I'm not willing to jeopardize what we've built here together. But I also know that I need to diversify, and I just don't know what that looks like yet. But it can't be pay to play. It can't be, and it won't be. So I know sometimes you guys get on my case. You know, it's like, oh, we've got a hair ad. We got a hair ad. I need you guys to understand something. That hair ad does not put a sports car in my driveway. That hair ad makes it possible for us to not have to play the games with the brands. Or it allows me to hire somebody at a real salary with insurance, when we get to that side of things and I need the help. And that's why we do it. It just happens that the hair ad actually works because I'm not only a spokesperson, I'm also a client, as they used to say. So that one was a no-brainer for me. I used their product just like native deodorant. I put native deodorant on, and then I'm desperately trying to I believe in the spoke shirt I'm wearing, and I use Tempo every day. But yeah, it's just interesting, 3 years ago when we started this journey, I had no idea we would be here. I just was hoping we could keep the lights on. Honestly. I had no idea we were going to really be having these types of conversations with one another about we have to grow. we have to grow. If you were here on the beginning of the stream, there's a piece of diagnostic equipment that I'll probably have to take a loan out if I need it, but it's 30 grand. But I think you guys are worth it. I think you deserve that information, you know? So yeah, very long-winded way to say that sometimes things go very smoothly and sometimes they don't. But for you guys, the viewer, I really hope anytime you watch us that you are entertained, you are informed, and you understand that the information that you're getting from us is coming from a place that it's us. It's us. And I know you can call it our success, you can call it, you know, our subscriber base, whatever you want to say, and point to things and go, oh, they must be paid. There's nothing I can do to stop you guys from thinking that, other than just tell you that's not true. And so at the end of the day, I'm always honest with you. And this is what happens sometimes. Certain brands make decisions, and as, I guess, a brand ourselves, I have to then make reactionary decisions. But yeah, I wasn't expecting some of the things that have happened in the past couple of years, but I'm grateful for it. Very grateful for it. I'm grateful for each and every one of you, and I feel terrible for one of our viewers this start of the stream, and I've been distracted this whole stream because like it's been back there. So I'm just really sorry for his loss. I really am. I don't like thinking of that. I've lost a lot of people in my life, and that's not good. So anyway,
thank you, Isaac, for the super chat. He says, I congratulate you for standing on your principles. You're very much respected by me for that. Please keep up the great work. Also, disrespecting my wife will get your body hidden.
I'm not going to put that on screen because that's probably going to get this stream. That's probably going to get this stream demonetized if I put that on the screen.
And also, thank you to This Is Slamming for the super chat, appreciating your work and honesty. Yeah. I know he hasn't posted those on the screen, but I don't want you to think we didn't see them. And again, if you're still here and we've missed your super chat, please accept our apologies. We do try to get to everybody, and like I said earlier, I always go back and look through to make sure if we miss somebody, it will be in the comments within the next couple of days. I also try to come back and add chapter markers, which takes a lot of time and work. But hopefully, if you miss something, you can come back and check it out later.
Yeah. So,
but we appreciate you joining us. This timing was a little bit different for us. Typically, we do live stream every third Thursday.
We did bump this one up this month. To be full disclosure, there's no way, given the 2 or 3 reviews that I have coming up starting Sunday, well, actually starting with the Sony, but coming Sunday and then the following weeks, that I could juggle the 2-a-week schedule and do everything that I needed to do. So we bumped this one up so that I actually can have a little day off next week because I need it. I need it. So thank you guys so much for for joining us early. Let us know if this time worked for you or didn't. But we will go back to the third Thursday. I do like that. But thank you again for joining us. I know this stream has gotten a little bit long, just like hanging out with you guys. So yeah, let's go ahead.
Junior posted a super chat, which I just responded to in the comments regarding the KEF R3 metas. We touched on this earlier in the stream. KEF has been notified that we're interested. But we do not know if we're going to get any for review. I would encourage you to reach out to any brand that you're not seeing on the channel and let them know that it's something you would like to see represented. We do send out requests. They're sometimes granted, they're sometimes not. But this coming weekend review is proof positive
that you can
make a difference by being persistent.
Yeah.
Not saying to be mean.
No, don't ever.
Or like troll people
Yeah.
for not sending stuff or whatever. But your word does have impact. So
you made Sunday happen. You'll understand on Sunday, but you guys made that happen, not us.
100% would not have happened without you.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, we gotta walk the dog.
Anything we would recommend with the Forte 4s and the Marantz, and I swear this is the last one. Okay. With Skylar wants to know, what would you put with the Forte 4s and anything else other than the Marantz 8015? I think the Marantz 8015 would be a fantastic pairing with the Fortes.
Well, that's if you need home theater.
Well, considering he mentioned that.
I can't see I'm sorry. I have another screen up here. Let me look at the...
So, yeah, I think that would be a great pairing. I would also look at the Sony we just reviewed, the new Sony receiver.
I'll have to rewatch.
I think that's going to be really good.
Oh, but he already has the 8015 and Forte 4. Anything else you recommend to go with it? Well, the 8015 is surround sound, so if you don't have a center channel, if you can swing it, the Heresy 4 I think will be a better center channel than, say, going with the reference Premier center. But honestly, the Forte 4s, if you position them correctly, can sound so good with a Phantom center that at that point, just worry about your surrounds, in which case, you can go in ceilings like we do or in walls, or get like 500M Mark IIs, 600M Mark IIs as surrounds. They won't match the finish unless you got black, but there's an option. There's an option. All right, guys, I have to go. So remember, the only person who has to like the sound of your system is you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for bearing with us. I apologize if throughout any of the last 2.5 hours you have noticed any technical difficulties. We got obliterated with sound issues literally 15 minutes before we went live. I had to pull out a whole new kit, and Kristi had to go panic order a whole new sound rig because I'm not joking. 10 minutes before we went live,
I didn't think we were going to be able to do this.
We didn't think we were going to be able to do this because my XLR preamp for our camera system literally just died. Like, gone. It's done. So that's all going to be here. We'll have it fixed for next time. But
I just want to say one thing. If we have any viewers, or if you have family in Turkey and Syria,
God.
I know that the past couple of days have been really heart-wrenching. If you've seen any of the news about the earthquake, if you're able to donate to the cause and find a charity that would be able to help, we encourage you to do so. It's just so sad to see the devastation in those countries. And anyway, our hearts are with you. Yeah. And we wish everybody a good weekend. And
well, great rest of your evening into the weekend. We'll see you Sunday. I think you're going to enjoy it. It's a review for you guys because you made it happen. But until then, please enjoy yourselves. Enjoy a nice movie or music tonight. And we'll see you Sunday. So thank you so much for watching, guys. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.